Missouri, you could drive papers.
No, I don't, I think it's very strict, because, one of Rick's wrestlers was at our house, and he said the school bus would stop at the Arms, and he didn't know, and he went around it, and they gave him they said, well, we're gonna take away your license, and I don't think they took his license away. I don't think he knew, I don't think he was mean or anything.
All right, well, I got 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and call our meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Fitch.
Here.
Clifton.
Here.
States. Here.
All present. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Heather. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Todd, you're the first one up today, representing the Fair Board. Just kind of give us a little report of what's going on at the Fair Board and what your request is, and that's about all we.
Like everybody knows, this is on my second month as the Fair Board president. so
You're doing great.
I don't know a whole lot, I don't know.
I haven't heard anybody complain about the fair yet.
Just wait, I'm sure it's coming. I got pretty broad shoulders, so I don't know. Last year we they put in some new concrete between the cattle and the pork producers, which was kind of a pretty good improvement. We put in new water heater and faucets in the old campground bathroom, so you don't have to go in there and push the button no more and then get scalded, so that's kind of nice. If anybody says, well, it's awful hot, turn the fan. Yeah, so that's an improvement. We've taken down some trees, some old ash trees. We planted a whole bunch of new trees in the campground, trying to better that a little bit, because Scott does a really good job of taking care of that. It does a lot of business, a lot more than you think. We got new gate latches in the sheep barn. We improved our Jackson building Wi-Fi, so we don't have to try and bump it. By the time you get to the back, it's like nothing. What's in there? Lights on the cattle wash track, painted the show arena, painted the post, tried to make it a little better. I think we have kind of a plan to, when cattle barns are getting kind of rough, foundation on the corner is about to fall off, and really like to do something different there. Get a shade, like where we had that tent last year, try and get something permanent there so they can all stand in there instead of having to be out in the sun. Get a new show arena someday. Of course, that's not something you just go snap your fingers and get one. Let's see, what else have we done? Put a new door on the office, because the door was like, pop open. Put a new combination lock on it. Trying to get the back, keep people from walking back in there, because it's just a non-stop flow of people that don't need to be back. We put a new kitchen door on the old community building. Let's see, what else we got?
I heard that there was talk of possible buying some more land. Is that still?
It's always that, you never know exactly what's gonna happen to the sale barn.
Yeah.
But on the other side, where Rice's live, I guess Linda passed away. That might be an option with that octagon barn there.
Yeah.
That'd be
We
nice.
kind of talked, I keep kicking that around, I'm like, hey, that'd be a nice little expansion that way, instead of that way.
Yeah.
You know, and then you could make another entrance maybe, or move it over, expand the campground up in there, instead of having put them down on the hills.
Right.
That octagon barn is neat.
That octagon barn would be neat, other than it's clear over there, I don't know what we could do with it, but
You could figure something.
we could figure something out, I mean,
It could be, add more things to the fair and just put them there.
right. You know, and then it gets a little more foot traffic up there past the community building, maybe for the poor vendors in there that don't get much, and
I think that was originally like the Chicago Theater, is that right? That they did performances in there, with seats around it.
I
In
have
the
no
round barn?
idea.
I think so.
Really?
Really?
I just asked him what that was used, like, what it was built for.
At one time, there was a community push to, hey, let's do that and do something with it, but I mean, there's so many causes in town.
Yeah.
I don't know if that ever got any traction.
Is it on the historical?
Not that I know.
You can ask Linda. She might know.
Linda,
Griffin Smith.
okay. I've heard that it was, but
We're getting in the bushes a little bit, but that's all.
yeah, sorry,
No problem.
Thanks, see, I
That's
need to use that,
interesting.
because the other night at the Fair Board meeting, it does the same thing. So, let's see, things we would like to do. We we're gonna put up a new sign out front of the Jackson building, I think, and it's, don't shoot me when you see it, cause it's pretty nice, I guess. I mean, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and we got a big donor for it, so, but we can put a lot of new, you know, what's going on in there, what's coming up.
Oh, and
So it's electric
electronic
sign?
sign.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty,
good.
new. It started out as something a little small, but it's kind of big. But anyway, we would like to put heat and air conditioning in that old campground bathroom, because that floor gets wet in the summer, and poor Danny goes up there 4 times a day, mops it, keeps it dry. It's like, hey, this is a hazard, you know? Then we'd have both bathrooms air conditioned, and it'd be a little nicer. It would hopefully be just nice. Let's see what else. Said something about the buildings. They all need some work on them. They always do. The rodeo skybox from that up there. We talked about moving them over there, moving the announcer up there, so we can get some wires up there, and that would just be a better spot. The announcer says, "Oh, that'd be awesome. I can see everything. It's right there." That's an improvement we'd like to do, and that won't cost. That's not. Of course, work on the motor arena. That always takes work. They had a big rack there during the fair, a little big hole inside the fence, so we're gonna have to fix that too, but that's just a matter of fixing it. Let's see, what else? We'd like to put some new ceiling tile in that old community building. I mean, I don't know how long that building's been there, but it's old.
tired.
It's old. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, it just needs some work on it.
It just needs clean, new stuff,
Yeah, and that ceiling tile is actually kind of expensive. It's not cheap stuff, I guess.
No, you start put ceiling tile, it's a pretty good sized building.
It is a big building. I think Dan's gonna put a new door on the end again and make it so that it's not quite so flimsy. It seems like it's always popping open, somebody hits it, so that's something else we wanna do. We've been talking about trying to expand the campground a little bit more. I mean, last year we had over 100 and some campers there. And when I was at the winter convention, I asked some fair boards, I'm like, how many campers do you guys get? Oh, 25. I'm like, oh, we have like 100. They're like, oh my God. But generates a lot of revenue, but there's a lot of electricity goes out too then, so. But other than that, I don't know. Let's let me tell you some more stuff. I don't want to keep you all day.
So what's your ask?
Oh, we asked for like 30,000, 50,000, 100,000?
This isn't an auction.
She asked, what do I ask for?
But it could be.
You know, I don't know.
I think it's been
25.
25, it's been 25 for a long time.
Let's see. I'll take 25, I'll take
If
whatever.
25 works, we'll
Okay,
pencil
we'll
that in.
try, that's fine, just whatever, I mean, yeah. Just like when I go asking for money for the rodeo in the fall, we have the fall rodeo, that's a fundraiser. I go asking for all the money for that, come and talk to Jeff all the time. I'm like, hey, I'll take $5, 50,000, I don't care, whatever, so. That'll work.
That'll work.
All right.
Thanks.
Super, that'll work.
Thanks,
Todd.
Todd.
You bet, thank you.
Kind of the process on this is this is our 3rd day of meetings, is that right? 4th day of meetings.
Okay.
Pretty much everybody puts their ask in,
Okay.
and then we'll kind of draw that up, and then Shelley will tell us how much money we have, and then bring the axe out.
And we go back.
Right, right,
And try to get the two to match.
Right.
Which might be a bit of a challenge this year.
right, okay. Where's this money come from?
Where's the money come from?
Yeah.
Property
Taxes.
taxes.
Property tax, okay, I've heard different things, I've heard casino money, I've heard this, I've heard that.
We didn't get any
We
casino
don't get
money.
I
casino
didn't
money.
think we did either.
That's Clark County.
Yeah, there's no casino in Madison, okay.
There's a little, like the foundation that gives, that's casino money, Madison County,
That-
Greater Madison
that's
County Community
their-
Foundation, that's
It's
that's
gambling.
gambling money for
Okay.
counties that don't have casino in their
Right, okay.
counties.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
You bet,
Super,
thank
thank
you.
you.
No problem.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
You bet, it's good to meet y'all.
Good seeing you again.
Yes. I'll see if I can survive.
You will. Thanks.
Oh, I will, I will.
But the wind blows hard up at your place.
You know, yes.
The maintainer.
The maintainer man did a great job.
He said his drifts that you're out where you are were over, higher than the maintainer.
You know, when we seen him go by, sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
No, no, you're
real quick, but when finally we seen him go by, there was a truck in the driveway, or in the road, from over the hill. That poor guy walked back and forth like 3 times. I went up and checked on him once, about he got it out of the snowdrift, dug it out, took me 4 hours, dug it out. It's over the hill, there was no snow. Finally, the maintainer comes from the west, he gets into the drift good, all of a sudden, the smoke goes out, maintainer left, uh-oh. And he finally got it going, and he took off, we came back, I'm like, all right, we can get out. Went up to the driveway and went, uh-oh, crap.
Yeah.
You made your own tractor.
And you know, and at first I was like, why did I, because I already cleaned my driveway off with the tractor. And I got thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, he had that V plow on, he was probably trying to get it, and he made it worse, and then he just said, I'm gonna quit. And, which is fine, because we had a little sliver we could get out. Finally got the tractor started, Bill Gibson came over, he come by and he pushed it out, and I'm like, you know what, it's fine, he did a good job.
Oh, it's a thrill when you do anything with Bill.
Oh, it is. It was very exciting.
He's very-
And I just got my tractor started, I pull it out of the garage, and I look at there, I'm like, hey, there's a big tractor in the driveway. Oh, great. So he did most of it.
Oh, that was nice. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Todd.
Yeah, you're up next.
Very good. I'll step up here a little.
You're
That's
kind
the
of
hot seat.
That's the hot seat.
Go up there.
Okay, very good. This is my first time here on behalf of the Madison County Development Group. As
So
you know.
you're kind of pinch hitting for.
Yeah, I am. I'll do my best. And as you know, Tom Leonard's retired and a little sidetracked. He had some surgery, it went very well. So Diane, Heather, Phil, it's important that we keep him in our prayers. But he's doing well. And he is on the road for recovery. But he'll have some.
He's still in Iowa City?
No, he's home, but he'll have some additional medical appointments. But everything considered, we started talking about cancer, and they removed one of his kidneys. He's done quite well. So, nevertheless, I'm pitch hitting. We're in between directors. We have a meeting at noon today that will have a motion to appoint a new director, and that's going to be a great hire for us. So I'll leave his name out since we haven't made that official yet. But Heather met him the other day, and Bill is on board. It's going to be a good hire. So we're excited about that, and that's a little bit of part of our ask. But I know you all are familiar with Madison County Development Group. I'll just share what we do as an organization. Our primary focus is to grow property taxes. So when you give, like Todd asking for money, where it can come from, I understand it's property taxes, and we need to go the right direction. The state's put a lot of pressure on the county with regards to your budget. But that's our emphasis. And just in this gap where Tom was out for, a month thereabouts, on his medical deal, personally, as the president of CDG, I found out he takes a lot of calls, a lot of activity. So it's an important function for our county. We want to promote economic development. There's a lot of parts to that, interfacing with West Des Moines. We can be reactive without a director, or we can be proactive with a quality person. And the person coming in knows the people in the West Des Moines market. He knows who leads that environment, and he's very well acquainted with Madison County. So with all that, MCDG wants to bring money to the county. A couple examples of recent work is that with the broadband money that's coming to northeast part of the county and the southwest, $7 to $8 million to bring fiber into those homes. The Southwest project, there's 2 different companies involved. The Southwest project, just in the last couple of weeks, it's gotten a little pressure for that project to go forward. So we're working with Farmers Electric to patch about a $700,000 increase. It's unrelated to the budget, but just some of the things that Tom has handled in the past that our new person will be going on. So critical functions, and just can't do it without a hired professional. Another example, just in the last couple of weeks, that our candidate that we're going to appoint this afternoon, just basically going to the state and looking for what's available. He found a program that is $1 million to the state of Iowa that is for Iowa Homeowners Assistance Fund for home repair. So it's kind of a, I don't quite get it, it's COVID money that's left over.
It's run through CCOG and they have
It-
they'll come in and you have to meet all the qualifications. And
the
it'll help.
window's real short.
Yes, it's a really short window and they didn't advertise.
Yeah, I know,
And I know that the CCOGs, the COGs have reached out to you guys, but it's
Yeah.
such a short window. It kind of got dumped in there and it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
stiff qualifications.
Yeah, it just came to light in the last, 3 days?
Yes,
It's like-
yes.
So, but, and so,
So are you like invest the money or it gets retracted kind of a thing?
I think it has to be given out and they
It's gonna go
gave
somewhere.
you no window. They just
Yeah.
got it.
yeah.
So, would it be helpful if we gave like suggestions of people that could possibly qualify?
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure, you know, who might know is Dio,
Matura.
and Matura would know, but they're not as, yeah, Matura might know, but from a housing standpoint, Dio, because he was all over the county because of the tornado.
I think the COGs have reached out to everybody, especially Matura, all of them, because this is so short. It sounds like it's gonna be recalled if it's not.
Yeah, it goes back to the feds. So I would mention, well, I mean, it's almost impossible, but maybe we put an ad in the paper to, to try and promote it.
Right.
Yeah, CCOG is leading it.
Yeah,
So.
So like your new director's gonna hit the ground running.
Yes, and it was, the new director was just impressed that he brought that to my attention, like, hey, this is out there, just because he's already connected. And the emphasis there in talking about having the right person is, in order to get that person attracted, as we posted the position, we had, 5 decent candidates. Of the 5, we interviewed 3. And of the 3, we had 2, what I would consider really strong candidates. And in all those candidates, what was driving their interest is that we also, have a reasonable salary. We're by any means not the highest in that industry, but in the past, we didn't have a benefit plan at 0. When Tom was part of our organization, timing was good for him. We were extremely fortunate that he was willing to work for us and we didn't have any benefits other than a small retirement plan because his wife was employed at the school and so we just got lucky quite honestly for 10 years. And he did a great work for us. But I think we can going forward, Ryan will take us to another level. And yet, in order to do that, we had to partner with the city to offer benefits. So our budget's gone up year over year about $20,000, from 120 to 140. And the county and the city are our 2 primary stakeholders. And we're doing and very much appreciated. And the city's involvement is just allowing us to put our person on their payroll program. We have to write them a check monthly. And it's new expenses, diapers, health insurance, life, vision, dental is $19,040. So that's, kind of brings me to our ask. We're currently at $51,250, and that was last increase, if my notes are correct, July 1 of 20 was the last increase. Asking for a 10% increase, goes to $56,375. I understand your budget's tight, so we do appreciate whatever you can do. Some other things that Madison County Development Group addresses, we administer the Greater Madison County Foundation. That's been in place for probably 10, 12 years.
Been more than 10, I think. It's been-
Oh, yeah.
We were
15
doing that before
maybe.
Tom came on board.
Yeah, you're right. It was probably pushing 15 years. We're part of the Des Moines Partnership, which is where opportunities get sent out to us. That's not by any means a low-cost membership. It's $5,000 to $6,000 a year. We have our own revolving loan fund that we help small businesses throughout the county. The last thing that Tom and his is, and our new executive director will do is provide a lot of guidance to small businesses in the county. They just, you know, I have someone call me as a banker, and they have a business plan, or they just don't know, they're kind of challenged. My first call is, hey, Tom, so-and-so wants to buy some land, they need some help in planning, can you sit down with them? Because they're kind of lost. He's very helpful in that regards. And what Tom has done, and the new person will, is not so much say, hey, let me put your budget together. They just help that small business find the resources within the county and the state to help them be successful. And that's sounds like a simple process, but it's very time consuming.
You do a lot of babysitting.
There's some of that, yeah.
Some of it.
Yeah.
In the case you're talking about, there, a lot of it's directions.
Yeah.
Direction,
Like,
yeah.
where do you go to a small business development center, or where do you need to go to?
And having one person to funnel through. I know several businesses that, over the years have met with Tom, and he said, hey, there's a program out here with CCOG, we want the state that you need to get involved with, because it would benefit your business, based on what they're doing, their size, maybe it's minority owned, and there's just special programs out there that, Madison County Development Group and their executive director say, stay on top of that.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
How can the city offer benefits if the person is not a city employee?
We have a 28E agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can do 2080 agreements with non-government entities to offer benefits?
Yes. Yep. It would, Jane Rosie drafted it. Yep. So that, so the city doesn't contribute to that benefit plan. We basically have to reimburse them 100%. That's $19,000 over and above, what we provided Tom in just for the benefit cost. It's a very good program. The city's program is very good. We looked at that over the years, and the budget just didn't allow it, and this time around, it's like, well, we're just gonna kind of plow forward and see what we can work it out one way or another.
So you asked for a 10% increase, that won't cover that. So
No.
where do you get the rest?
Well, the city, hopefully they'll do the same.
Okay.
And then we need to improve our membership base. We need to grow membership. And that's something that we've kind of struggled with over the years. But holding people's feet to the fire a little bit, people, I say businesses, that if we can bring money to their organization through a tip to allow them to build or expand their business or come to this area, we kind of want them to develop group with a membership. That hasn't been a good focus in the past.
And by and large, it's been the financial institutions that have been
Yeah,
driving the bus
yeah,
on that.
yeah.
And granted,
Yeah.
banks get benefit, new business comes to town,
Yeah.
whatever, they're gonna have more of a direct benefit than XYZ manufacturing. It's like, you want me to support a competitor coming to town?
Yeah, for employees, that's a tough one.
But they need to, because,
Yeah.
the development group was here to help them, they need to help the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah, that's a challenge, because when we want a new business, say, and then I'm gonna go somewhere else, or I'm not gonna expand my existing business. Well, membership with us is $500, it could be even less. The banks probably fund, 3 banks probably fund close to half probably 40% of our membership budget, which is approximately $20,000 a year. So our total annual budget is $140. So the city is at 53,500.
5,300.
53,000.
53, and you're asking 56,375 from us.
Yes, and I intend to go to the city and request an increase from them too.
I'm sorry, I wasn't writing fast enough. What was the city amount?
The city is at $53,500.
And that's what they're currently at?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you're gonna go with them and ask for a 10% increase too?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And,
And when the say your budget is 140, is that assuming that you get the increases, or is that what it currently is?
No, that's our current budget.
Okay.
That's basically, when I say, and I'm going on an expense side, that's our
Okay.
expenditures. So whatever we come up short, Madison County Development Group either has to use capital resources that we want to retain for, say, a big project such as the work we put into the property to the east of Winterset to basically prepare that land for development. Someday in the road, we spent probably $100,000 in '21. At some point, want to spend more, so so those dollars are probably considered capital dollars for those type of investments in the county. But if our operating budget is negative, then we have to burn cash. And that's what we try to avoid.
So we talked about this a little bit at the, so something like that, people on my side of the county be like, why should I join with all their investments and they go to Winterset?
Well, that's a little bit of a challenge. Tom was very good about being at the city council meetings. There's sometimes limited opportunity the smaller the municipality. Earlham's a great example. It's on the interstate, they have rail. Our new person wants to develop relationships up there. Tom had relationships, but I don't think we ever had a really strong base there. Our city of Earlham's a member. I think Tom could probably speak to that better. There's sometimes a little resistance, but that's something that needs to be broken down and worked through. If there was a development to the east of Winterset, yeah, it would be in the city limits, but those tax dollars generated would benefit everybody in the county too. There would be some
And jobs.
And jobs.
I'm just telling you what, those of us that live outside of Winterset, that's what they say. And it's
Yeah.
just like, when you see something like that the Madison County Development Group invests $100,000 in land east of Winterset, it's like, wow, I
Yeah.
don't see any value.
Yeah, and actually the investment was more study-based and not real estate purchase at all. Yeah, that's, I would imagine that's probably, I would expect that. I imagine the people in Bevington or Maxburg or Truro or St. Charles, we have a branch in Truro. Dick Burhant used to be on the board, he's a stakeholder in that community. He'd always say the same thing, what can you do in Truro? There's problems with, the smaller the market, the tougher the challenge. Water, electrical, all the utilities that's required for the street. Rail's a huge advantage in Earlham. We as a development group need to focus on bringing Earlham in closer and getting past that, this is just for the benefit of Winterset. And I would venture that's a challenge if you went to the city of West Des Moines, any outlying municipality and say, well, we don't get any help from West Des Moines. Or if you go to Story County, those outlying communities may say, well, all the money seems to benefit Ames, because that's where the population base is at. And I would advocate that where you can grow your population base is good for everybody. The tide rises all boats. So any development, be it, in my opinion, in the city limits of Winterset or the city limits of Earlham or anywhere else, trying to develop something at the interstate exchange at Bevington on Madison County side, which is a little bit of a problem because we have a gap there, is good for everybody. But it's kind of where you got to go where the action's at too. But we have talked about that particular issue with Earlham and bringing them in closer and doing something, going to find ways to help their community.
Well, it's not just about Earlham, there's Maxburg and Peru and
Absolutely.
Truro and St.
Absolutely.
Charles and.
It does get tougher.
Yeah,
It does
and
get
two-thirds.
tougher.
St. Charles would sell land, they're 25 minutes to downtown.
Yeah.
I know.
And that's the thing with St. Charles and
They
Earlham,
was-
they're positioned better than some of the ones that aren't on the interstate.
Actually, Bevington is pretty well positioned. And so Madison County Development Group started purely to grow tax base, and that's still an emphasis. But we've, in the last 15 years, have become residential, small business, retail. So like St. Charles, they may not have the infrastructure for a significant industry, but housing, wow, they should just be exploding in my opinion, and it's coming.
I
They're
agree
gonna-
with Heather, though. I think, growing up here my whole life, I think there is real animosity.
Yeah.
And we have to bridge that. And I
Yeah.
do think, as I've been in this position, I think my town doesn't play real well in the sandbox. I think a lot of it's from that, too.
Well, and it kind of goes both
It
ways.
does.
And like, take Earlham, for example, housing-wise, exploded really well north of the school. And now they're landlocked, because nobody wants to do anything.
No one wants to sell it.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a, based on my view from the outside, it's more of a historical thing. I think it rose from, in the past, all the county supervisors were from Winterset. All the growth
Yeah.
was Winterset, even though 2/3 of the population is outside of Winterset.
Right.
So I think it's from there, and that animosity over time has just kind of settled in. So I think that's probably gonna be your
Yeah,
thing to overcome.
Our history, we started in the late 80s as Winterset Incentive Network.
Yeah.
And it was Winterset only, and there's a volunteer board. And then about '02, we went to the Madison County Development Group. '03, everybody hired an executive. That was Chris Nolte. Then we went to Lee Martins, Doyle Scott, and then Tom Leonard. We've been pretty fortunate over the years, but, and then the new person, he's
He's not
well
from-
connected in the county.
But he's
So-
not from Winterset, I think that's one.
That's correct. He lives he lives north and east. So, we're really excited about our prospective hire. And it's really a prospective hire. It's, we have to vote him in yet.
Pretty much a
We have to-
formality.
Yeah, I hope so, but it's still one more step, so I gotta be
Yeah.
careful.
We have to bridge this, though,
Yes.
because we're in it together. We're Madison County, and we need to bridge this, I think.
Yeah.
And work on, all of the towns.
And
And get them involved.
And it's a two-way street.
Yes, Ryan?
Two comments I would make is, I think historically my understanding of it is the county has paid as opposed to the smaller cities, largely as, they didn't want the development group hitting up the small towns' budgets. So the county stepped in to, we're gonna do that job for you, so you don't have that weight on your shoulders. I also think, like, if you have development, even if it is centralized in Winterset, if you look at how traffic flows in and out of Winterset, there's a lot of people that, like, about as many people flow out as flow in. So there's a lot of housing opportunities, especially in other parts of the county, for those residents to reside, so.
Absolutely. And it is a two-way street. I think there's been some challenges where we've gotten maybe roadblocked. The county is definitely covering the funding for those outlying communities. And I think it's a matter of presence, of being at council meetings, asking, what can we do to help, and bringing programs such as the Iowa Homeland Assistance Fund. That's probably a better, my assumption, it's probably a better opportunity for smaller communities. It's home repair, I don't know if that really applies, but it would be a project that all homeowners could access if they qualify, regardless if it's a Winterset based by any means.
Okay, any other questions for Jeff?
No.
Okay, thank you,
Jeff.
Jeff.
You heard what we told Todd, we're this is the easy part of the project.
Yeah.
Our next meeting is where the rubber hits the roads.
So will I be back then at that meeting, or is it?
Most likely not.
No.
Okay.
We'll just hammer through
If we have a question or something, we might reach out to you.
Okay, very good. And and if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know a couple of you have my contact information, I'm not Diane does now. And we'll have a new executive director in about 2.5 hours.
it. Perfect.
All right, thanks,
So-
Jim.
Thank you very much.
Are you guys attending the,
Chamber banquet is tomorrow.
no, come on, Thursday?
I'm-
Oh, you're gonna go, I don't know.
Chamber banquet.
Chamber banquet.
Oh.
Speaking of which, I brought my checkbook. I don't see that on here. Speaking of which, the chamber was scheduled at 9:30, and Camera told me she camera, excuse me, rhymes with camera.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Told me
That's
she
why I
could be here
remember
till after
that.
11, so I said, show up around 11:15, because I didn't know what the library scenario was gonna look like, so. That being the case, do we want to look at calendars and talk about when we should get together?
We're done now? There's
No, no, no.
No,
We've got
we
a
have
15
elders,
minute
Oh, okay.
historic
Our next one's at
preservation,
9:45.
elderly, so here's all we have left. But I'm gonna leave here at 5 till and go across the hall and do the landfill meeting, because we couldn't change it.
There's not,
No, it's live, and you don't even know if they're showing up for sure, do you?
the library's the only one I heard from with Winterset.
Winterset,
I
okay.
think they're the only ones that didn't show up.
I know, I invited all four.
St. Charles, they did last year, but.
Can I switch gears for a second and just give you guys a heads up?
Yeah.
The Nissan Xterra, you guys talked to Ryan about that, like, he's gonna try and list it on her boy to get rid of it.
Yeah, secondary roads is helping.
We can't find the title. So where I keep titles, we don't have it, so Ryan applied for a duplicate title. He got a letter back yesterday stating, it's gonna be a mess. Our records show that this vehicle has never been titled to Madison County. Please submit all documents for an official title. Also, please note that the vehicle has a lien holder from the previous owners.
Oh,
Are you kidding me? Who owns it? And you don't know who the lien holder is either?
Mm-mm. So,
How did
this,
we get possession of that?
This sounds like
it
an
was purchased
error.
from Tom's Auto Sales back in 2017 or 19, I can't remember. So Ryan called them, they claimed that since we wrote them the check, they would have just handed us the title that day. Well, we really don't have any proof that we ever got the title. We have no idea if they even had legal rights to sell that vehicle to us. So I'm gonna get
So
Aaron.
they sold us a hot car.
Pretty much. That's what it comes down to.
I'm a little bit surprised if there's a lien on it, somebody hadn't picked it up
They
already.
would
I
have
know,
gone.
Yeah.
well, yeah, so I. will
Because
go
they
and
stole
send
it,
you
they don't wanna
everything.
come back.
I'm gonna work with Aaron to see what do we need to do, to try and come, I don't know, I have the loan agreement and everything from Tom's Auto Sales, that it was, that we purchased it, we have the canceled check, we have all of that. We just don't have the title, and I have everybody else's titles in my office, we don't have that one, so we don't know if it was ever, if anybody ever even got
Is
it.
that the
If
one
there's a
Jeff?
lien on it.
Is that the
nobody-
one Jeff bought?
Yeah, that black, Nissan
That Jeff
Xterra that
bought.
Jeff bought, yeah.
Jeff
So
bought it.
Ryan reached out to Jeff yesterday, and then he reached out to Tom's Auto Sales, and then he talked to the treasurer's office. He's gonna call the DOT, like Ryan's been working really hard to try and figure out, but he said, I don't know what to do with this.
Maybe we should peel the
So-
plates off and leave it parked along the road sometime.
Well,
Let it go
some
down.
They're like, do we just sell it, or let's just, here,
Well, we don't have
you
it.
can buy the tires and you
So
can buy
basically,
the.
we've been driving around in a car.
We've been driving around in a car that isn't ours, is what they're saying, the DOT is saying.
Have we even insured it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This
Yeah.
sounds like the feds. We had a truck out
I'm like, I
there.
feel like we got scammed.
Yeah, probably. We had a truck, they called me when, I did inventory, really careful inventory, sent it into the feds, and the feds called and said, do you have a 3/4 ton Chevy pickup with 14,000 miles on it? And I said, yes, and this is what he said. Shit, we lost that 2 years ago, we wrote it down as lost truck. So as soon as they found out we had it, they sold it for $1,500.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm gonna work with Aaron.
Oh, my word.
I'll keep working with Ryan, we'll go through, but Ryan's been working to try and.
What's that piece of junk truck worth?
Well, I think when he was gonna trade it in, they were gonna give him $1,500 if the steering column's locked up. So if we would fix that, well, I'm glad he didn't move forward with
Yes.
that, because he couldn't have done anything with it without a title, and
We might have, wow, but we can't even scrap it.
I don't know how, like, if we junkyard it, like, can you scrap a vehicle
You
without a
might,
title?
you know who would know this is Brian, because he bought some vehicle at a police auction, and then they find stuff in it they shouldn't have found.
But I don't even know that you can, I mean, if it's got a lien on it, how do you, will they even?
I don't,
I don't know.
but the lien, he would have,
Just
should
give it
that
back
be-
to him.
So the lien, what the lien owner
but they
said.
would have
I
come for
don't
the money.
know. Yeah,
It sounds like it was a stolen car.
Maybe they didn't know where the car
Well,
was.
the way that would work, I'm assuming Tom's Auto, when they took that in, would have made sure that the lien was cleared.
Yeah.
But unless you run that title through the treasurer's office, it doesn't officially get released.
So they
So the lien holder may
Oh,
very
so
well
it-
be paid off,
it
but
might
unless
be.
you run it through, it doesn't record on
Never
record.
Sure.
recorded the release.
Am I right, Ryan?
Ryan,
I just caught, you
Poor
sounded like you were
Ryan.
talking about.
we're talking about the exterior,
hot
that we're
car.
just gonna,
We're gonna strip the plates and let somebody.
who's got a match?
So what did you say?
I just told him, that I kind of gave him the gist of that it's never been titled to Madison County as far as the DOT is concerned. There was a lien on it from a previous owner. They state they would have given us the title the day we handed them the check, but we have no proof we ever even got the title.
Right.
We don't know. So,
Well, yeah, something I was concerned about is, if there was a lien on it, they wouldn't have had the title.
No,
yeah,
no, they just
But they-
didn't take
So
that.
Phil thinks they just didn't
could-
run it so it got
They
cleared.
could have, like, from my banking days, if someone would pay off a car loan and had a lien on it, and lien says, lien to Farmers Merchant State Bank, there's a spot in there that can release the lien. So the bank would sign it, release the lien, give them the title, and say, you take this to the treasurer's office, otherwise, for the DOT records, there's still a lien on that vehicle.
okay.
So what
So
happened
I'm
is they
guessing
skipped
that
titling it.
So there's a chance if we never got the title, we didn't,
Go through that
it
process.
didn't get to
Didn't
the
go
DOT.
through there to officially get
Yes,
lien. It
to
may be
get
paid
released.
off,
Yeah.
but
So
it
how do
might
we
not.
find out, like,
Well, if you could get a duplicate title, or the previous owners could, it's still gonna show the lien on there.
yeah, we,
I'm gonna call the DOT and
Can't the DOT tell you who the previous owner is and who the lien holder is?
I know, I found out who the previous owner was,
yeah.
but I haven't yet found out who the lien holder is.
But that would say on the title who the lien owner. Once you get a copy of the title, it would say on who the lien owner.
Well, we can't get the
I don't know
title,
that
they
you're
give it
entitled
to
to a
us.
copy of the title since you don't own it, but the information is probably the public record.
So I think, when you call the DOT, I will send you a copy of the like loan agreement and everything too, to prove, we purchased this vehicle.
Not technically.
Yes, purchase agreement, to prove that
We did buy
we
it.
did buy this vehicle. I can get you a copy of the canceled check too, so they have all that,
How did
because
they
it,
get plates?
Should we give, provide copies of the
How did
insurance
we
that we have
get
on it too?
plates?
I think, I'd like for somebody to run those too, because I wonder if they're not pulled off of some junker that was on the secondary road.
Took-
Talk to
see,
Jason.
but we were always told with county plates, they can be on any vehicle.
can
They're
grab
not
them from one and
specific
put
to
them to
one
another.
vehicle,
Oh,
so
they're
I'm sure
not?
they,
Oh.
yeah, so I'm sure they did
Because
get
they're
moved around
official
from whatever. Yeah,
Oh, that sounds like fun.
yeah, so that was our 4:20 PM. Sounds like Ryan's all day, my 4:20 PM phone call.
You know, this car has been a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Christine. It's gonna just come back and haunt
Yes.
Right? Just put it out in the street and leave the keys in it, see what happens.
you. You ever need a loaner
We
car
don't
while your
own
truck's in the
it.
shop?
Jeff, you need a car?
No,
We'll sell it to you, sell it to you real cheap.
especially this one.
All right, well, that pretty much filled up our 15 minutes, but let's look at a
Oh, yeah,
spot for our
sorry.
next meeting.
Sorry. Okay,
I'm leaving town a week from tomorrow, so I'd
So
like
when are you
to,
leaving town, what?
the 25th, and I'm gone through the
25th,
1st, so I'd like to meet before then.
okay.
What does Monday look like?
I can do Monday. I can't do Friday this week, but I can do Monday. And it looks like we have a closed session on the 23rd. And then you have your regular board meeting right after that
When is the closed session on the 23rd?
at 8:30.
Oh, yeah,
It's just a quick one.
and that's with Ann.
Mhm.
So, what do we usually take about an hour or two to hand through this, don't we?
Well, it's gonna be our first look at it.
Yeah.
Because
There,
Tuesday,
you know,
the
as we've been going through this,
oh,
I've
you're
flagged
looking
a
at
few
Monday.
things that might be low-hanging fruit.
Mhm.
So maybe we meet, clip the low-hanging fruit, and have Shelley rework it and see where we land after that.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When do you want to go?
Do we wanna do it after our meeting on Tuesday, the 23rd?
Michelle says that agenda's filling up pretty fast.
How about Monday, the,
I can go anytime Monday.
all right. What
All I
time?
have is the comprehensive plan meeting on Monday night.
So let's go during the day, Monday, what time?
Does not matter to me.
Do you want to
Can
go
we-
9 to 11?
I'm in town and I'll appreciate
we
you guys'
do-
We're
schedule.
gonna do afternoon.
Can we do afternoon, because then I don't have to drive back to Earlham and drive back?
I'm okay with that. I love afternoon because I'm in here now. What time? How about noon, how
Doesn't
about
matter
one
to me,
to
I'll just
two?
stay the whole day.
Let's
until-
play 1 to 3, we may not go that long,
Okay.
I'll send an invite and to Michelle as well.
but to me, that makes sense, you know, we know they're not gonna match, but then we can make the easy cuts, and then we can
Right
see
now,
where-
are we over? Is from what we're allowed?
Right now, no, well, no, because what I've entered has it at our max, so, sorry.
which is reduced from last year.
Yes, yep.
But the revenue's still up.
Yeah.
some.
Yes,
What's the total revenue increase?
Didn't you say like 4 million is what we're allowed maximum?
I think that's what she said.
Interesting, the next group shows up. Which is.
So Monday is 22nd, 1 to 3 is what we're doing.
Yes, might not go that long.
1 to 3?
If we go 2 hours, that would, I think, mean we're making progress.
Is that okay, or do you wanna do later, Diane?
1 to 3 is fine, because I come in at noon on Mondays, so I think I have physical therapy.
When you-
No, I don't
Why not, because we can do. I
think.
can
No,
do
that's
afternoon,
perfect,
too.
that'll be perfect. 1 to 3 is okay.
the general would be up $194,000.
Would be up 194? Okay. So Phil's gonna go to the awards bank.
Rural would be up $144,000.
Oh, so it's pretty good.
Max that we're going to take.
So we have under our max, is what you're saying?
No, right
Over
now
our
I have
max.
it, well, right now I have it at our max, so I'll show you this.
So we're just cashed
spreadsheet.
out.
Okay.
So this is what we're currently at with our current dollars. This is what our valuations are, so our taxable growth is 8.21, but we have that 3% limitation. So that reduces this down. The max allowed levy rate we can be at for the general is gonna be 3.39806, which
Okay.
would bring in this much money.
Okay, I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
for revenue growth of this. So that's where this is more than this by 194,000.
Ah, I
So
see.
same way, the rural levies at $3.80, the max we can do for next year is 3.6892.
Okay, so this is basically what we have to cut from what we currently have.
This is what we have, no, that's how much more tax dollars we will bring in next year,
Oh.
even with the reduction in our levy rate.
Oh, okay.
So that's just saying,
We have to stay within this amount.
if you're going to,
If we're gonna
yes.
increase, we have
Yep.
to stay within it.
Yep.
Okay.
And we leave a 20% cushion?
Yeah, your fund balance, we'd like to be as close to 20% as we can be, at the end of the year. So we'll look at those numbers, next week when we meet. I'll tell you kind of where we're at for that. And then you guys can look at people's askings and where we're at with that. I don't know if you plan on talking briefly about salaries next week, if you want me to have some scenarios set up for.
That wouldn't be a terrible thing.
Okay,
Would you do that?
I'll work on those spreadsheets that tell you if you reduce by
5%, 1%.
75% or whatever that is, here's what those numbers would look like.
Could you show us what,
Because we still haven't met with the unions yet.
Yeah,
Keep that in
February.
mind.
yeah, I probably wouldn't play with that, waste a lot of time on that, 'cause
Yeah, we'll have to wait till after we get the unions on that.
so, but I can prep, the spreadsheet be quick to prep, so I can at least have that for you. But right now, everything that's in the budget is what people are asking. So if they ask for the moon, it's in there.
yeah.
And then we can dial back from there.
Okay. So historic preservation is next?
Yeah.
That's Linda, where are they?
Well, or Ryan's on that board.
Oh.
He's out
Ryan
always
was
up to
just
the
here.
yes.
No, let's have him.
I don't.
They had a meeting last night.
I'm assuming you're just gonna see it sitting at.
Because you could be on this still.
Times.
You fall it?
Well, I
Not
figured
here.
as much, otherwise you're late.
I was just gonna go look at the clocks, I'm like, I'm getting long winded.
Well, yours is pretty easy, so.
It should be, we're not asking for anything.
Oh, that's, I like that. You should be so lucky.
See, you were, I forget what your ask was. She told me.
I think it's just 2 grand.
Yeah, that's right.
I even have like handouts and everything.
Is it the same as last night?
Probably.
Oh, I
So if
got
you
it.
already have it, then you're good to roll. You have the work plan as well?
Yeah, my computer. I read it though, so say, give it to them.
It's fine, I brought copies.
Yeah, I have library.
So that's the request up front. And look, I actually,
Thanks, Ryan.
yeah,
Forever out
so I think the important thing to note is that the Historic Preservation Commission does a lot with very little. I mean, just in the past year, we secured $15,000 grant to study Earlham's downtown and work on getting that put on the National Registry of Historic Places. We've also got another $200,000 grant for bronze markers, overlooking graves of some of our freedom seekers. So we've, I mean, you can kind of go down to the list of our fiscal year 23-24 review. We've been very productive with our tiny little $2,000 budget. We're going to ask the city of Winterset for an increase of $500 this year because we're doing some more specialized stuff in the city of Winterset this year, so they'll be paying more than the county.
So you're asking Winterset for 25 and Madison County for 2?
Yes. On the back, you can see the tentative 2024 plans and summary. The workflow is a draft document of our overall plans for the year, our projects that we're looking at addressing. Well, that's kind of it. We're not asking for more money, but we're looking to do, to continue to stretch the dollars we have and to make good use
I
of
would
it.
agree, you guys do a great job with
You do a
limited
great job.
resources. And if there's any money to be had, you sniff it out.
Yeah. If you have any questions? Sorry, we were gathering all of them.
It's all right.
This thin paper is a prime example.
I
of how
noticed
tricky
that.
you are.
Well, I was like, this must be Dollar General.
I mean, like, I've had to buy paper at Dollar General before, and
This
it's
almost
just
looks like Bible paper.
The transfer.
My wife hates it, so yeah, I was like,
Is this-
yeah, you can read the back.
You can buy this at Dollar General?
That's
Yeah,
about all you
Sarah.
can buy at Dollar General, so if you're gonna
I've
have
never
paper, that's
seen
what you're
paper
gonna
this
get.
thin.
That's what I thought too when we ran out at home, and I was like, oh, look at this. This is really good.
Get what you pay for.
Clearly.
I don't think I've ever, this is impressive to me.
I made
It's
that mistake
basically
once, of
racing paper.
running out of paper and having a device on mine.
Yeah.
Well, you got, his budget's really tight.
That's the household budget on this.
That, being thrifty is never a bad trait.
No.
Well, that was painless, we
Yeah,
know
so
what
it
you
should be
guys
pretty
do.
painless, but I figured out. Linda couldn't be here today, she had some family obligations, she has to stay.
That's okay.
Well, thank you much.
Do you have any other
Thanks,
questions?
Ryan.
We're free to ask them.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I thought we should have asked her, because we're so good at what we have.
She's
What
pretty
makes a
for
person
her.
thrifty. I think I saw Tammy out there. She's on,
You can send him.
she's up next.
All right, well, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Take care.
HIRTA, Matura, and then the libraries, and then the chamber will follow here.
All right, do we have a second? I gotta,
Scheduled until 10.
all right, let me see what this is.
I saw somebody out there, I don't know if it's Tammy or not.
I will call you at 11 o'clock from here. Do you have a quorum? Oh, yes.
Hi Tammy, how are you?
Good, are you guys ready for me yet?
We're ready.
Okay.
I think some people might be taking a break. Go ahead and have a seat up here.
Okay.
Good to see you. My dad will be even happier to see you. Well, maybe I'll be happier that my dad will see you guys.
And today was a challenge, because I don't know if you guys heard, but the water line busted in low ambulance bay today.
And she can't come.
No. Oh,
So, we don't have any water,
That's.
Now what?
but luckily we came in yesterday.
Well,
and
here, I got a
stuff
meeting, so I'll
ready,
call you back.
And we went and got water from Fairway, and so we'll at least get meals out today. We
so
won't be able to.
when do you have somebody scheduled to come in and look at it, fix it?
Swinehards are coming this afternoon. They're in West Des Moines dealing with a frozen water pipe there. And then, Sean Miner's supposed to come this afternoon to see why it happened.
Did it cause damage?
Because it's temperature control, I mean, it's cooler there, in there, it's colder there, but is it,
It is colder. The radiant heat was set on 80 and it was cold. But,
Oh, that's in the back where deal is?
yeah, right where
The freezer is.
right where the clock is sitting for the courthouse.
Oh, the clock.
did it get wet?
The crate got wet.
Wait, okay.
Chip's coming this afternoon to upgrade it
clock?
to see.
Our old clock face,
Oh,
Faces are out
the
there.
clock faces,
Yeah.
not the old one, I'm sorry, the new
It's
one.
a new one, yeah. Do you guys need copies?
Chip has been in communication with our insurance already. so-
Yeah, John's already been
Yeah,
there.
good.
And Rainbow, do you need a copy?
Yeah, I'll take, actually, no, I printed it.
Oh, okay, so do you need a copy? Rainbow International's there now, starting cleanup.
let's do something on those walls so this doesn't happen.
Chip said that they're gonna put a shut off between our
Yeah.
buildings, cause, I mean,
And just turn that water off, because my garage does that, the one, they have water lines and air lines, and if you don't shut that off, that one in that northwest corner freezes, and it is out.
We put, when we did our kitchen,
Do a shut.
on the north side, is
Yeah.
on the north wall, we actually put the pipes on the inside rather than in the wall,
Yeah,
because we were afraid they'd freeze, and it gets super cold.
and they do,
My pantry that's on that side of the wall, it's like a refrigerator.
my, underneath my kitchen sink will freeze. But I
All right.
turn on my washer, it's okay.
Ken, why don't you give us a little overview and then get into what you're asking us to do?
okay. I didn't know if you, I emailed this earlier today, I didn't know if you had a chance to review it. So last fiscal year, we delivered or served over 30,000 meals in Madison County. And so far this fiscal year, since July, we've served or delivered over 16,000. And then I have given you a little bit of a breakdown demographically, so you can kind of see, what our average attendance is, low income, those who are over 75 in rural areas. And then we have a suggested donation of $4 a meal. Our actual cost is about $8.21. And so I did put, what our average donation is per meal, so you can kind of see, what we
What we have
propose
to
with
cut.
and what we kind of get, so you can kind of see there's a shortage there. Now, last year, you guys increased our budget, which we were very, very thankful for because of those high food costs. From last fiscal year to this past fiscal year, so comparing those two, we were up almost 21% in food costs. We've added Brian Dickerson on staff. He comes for an hour a day. Many of you know Brian. He does a great job disinfecting in our dining room, and, with all the different germs going around, we just feel it's kind of important to kind of keep that going. And I did just kind of include some of the notes that we get quite a few, and I wanted to include that so that you can kind of see that some people really rely on it, other people appreciate it. I did include one that was in October, and I'll just briefly explain that one just because I guess it kind of touched my heart a little bit. In October, we have what's called Pedal It Forward, and so, as many of you know, I have a store, and so our store donated the flowers, and then all the volunteers, when they delivered meals, they delivered a flower with it. And we received several thank you notes about that. I received one phone call that just kind of, you don't realize what lives you're touching, but she said that's the first flower she'd gotten in 6 years since her husband died.
Aww.
And it was just like, okay. So just, you know, those tiny things, so many people just appreciate our volunteers delivering to see that face.
And the little kids.
In Truro and St. Charles, I-35 school is delivering on Fridays. And the seniors love that, they really do. These kids are being taught about community awareness. They know to, let's see, they're prompted to ask questions and get to know, and I think it's been enjoyable both ways. In Winterset, the second grade class did Christmas cards that were delivered to all the home delivered. Some of those were just really interesting to read. I think one was like, thank you for saving the world, how much money do you make?
They're the greatest generation.
So, you know.
They
just-
make my mother notes, they are adorable.
And like I said, I think they enjoy it both ways there.
They do, they seem
So.
to.
Well,
Yeah.
Tammy, personally, I appreciate it. Tammy called me yesterday morning, said, hey, how's your dad getting along? Haven't been there for a while, she'll be back tomorrow. And fortunately, we can get that covered, but some of the people you deliver to
Right.
don't have a backup.
Yeah, now yesterday we delivered 15 meals for people who really needed it. And even though we have our water issue today, it was like, no, we've gotta get these meals out. So luckily it was a meal that we can do that, we can kind of, you know, have backup plan and do that. So
How are you doing on your, do you need more leafy board?
they are still doing great for us, we just
That was
so
such a-
appreciate that, yes,
You're
we really
welcome.
appreciate that. And Wagner Locker, they call us, you know, the first of the month, they'll, hey, your hamburger's ready, and I go get it, and we're very thankful for that, yes.
That was a
much.
good day. A day to the beef and pork producers for a year.
I'm gonna share another story. I sit on the Aging Resources Board, where Cherie is at now, and they do a illustration each year. You know, sometimes we're by far the smallest county in that group of folks too, so you know, you're you know, the whole fish in the big pond there. But then they show the number of elderly in each county and the resources allocated to that county, and then on a per capita basis per elderly people, Madison County actually gets a larger share than a lot of the other counties do. So they sometimes say, we're only getting this much money. From a per capita standpoint, we're doing better than some of the counties that are.
Because we're, what, an aged population?
Not that so much as I
The
think,
need?
I think our people like Tammy are doing a job of reaching out and
Oh, doing a
They
taking
do
care
it on
of people.
performance and whether or not you're fulfilling your contract. Aging Resources, as Phil probably knows, didn't get as much money from the state this year. And so that, of course, trickles down. But, yeah. I mean, you can see on our demographics, even 75 plus is quite a few there. So. Do you guys have questions for me?
No, I think you do good.
Thank you very much for breaking all this down.
I don't see Beverly's ratings in here.
That's because she
Gave it
sends
to me.
personal information that I thought you might not want me to share.
Or she's sharing. Oh,
What?
no.
What are you talking about? What?
About her daughter, probably.
I looked at him, I'm like, no.
I don't know if I ever, Diane, I don't know if I ever told you, but I got a personal sympathy card from your mother when my mom passed away.
Oh,
She does a great job writing notes. She's very encouraging.
she's a beautiful letter writer.
Yeah.
She has beautiful penmanship. Oh.
It's,
So I
I get
put
this,
that,
I'm like, I said,
however.
Beverly,
No,
I said,
I
and
can imagine what's in
then,
them.
in parentheses, it was Diane's mom.
Did I miss it, is the amount that you're asking for?
Oh, yeah, what is your-
Yes,
Bottom
at the
for-
top
for-
there, last year we got 95,000 for nutrition and 3,000 for chore. And, I just, would request that remain the same if possible.
Oh, okay,
So what do you want from us?
so the same amount.
Yeah, in that top
90.
paragraph, yeah, 95 for nutrition and 3
So
for chore if
98,000.
possible. Mhm.
Because I don't, was it just a temporary increase? I thought we did that as a permanent.
No,
That one you did, plus
We
you
did some
did give
COVID.
us,
Some additional for COVID.
you
Yes.
did,
Okay.
yes. Mhm.
You know, you are truly an institution, not really government, but that reaches the whole county.
We do our best.
You
I will
do.
say there's some people like in Maxburg area, we just don't have, those are so few, and we just don't have anybody to drive out there. However, we've had certain circumstances where the families worked here in town, so they could pick up a meal and drop it off at their folks.
Yeah.
That way, they're not having to prepare the meal, but yet, you know, there is, we try to be creative if need be, so, yeah.
It's interesting that the Earlham congregate site is almost as high as your Winterset congregate site.
They have consistently the same people almost every day, and it's very important to them socially, very important. Ours fluctuates, it seems a lot, like on, things at doctor's appointments and stuff like that, like who comes or, I think some of our seniors might be a little bit more mobile as far as, oh, we're going to Des Moines today or something like that, as far as those who come to congregate. But for Earlham, those folks are pretty, I mean, it doesn't fluctuate too much.
Don't you think with this bad weather and if they're all alone, can you imagine having nobody at your home or speaking to you for like 4 days, all by yourself?
I had one of the reassurance calls I did yesterday. She was concerned about her low doses Ashton. And so I will follow up with her today, and I'll go get it and take it to her if need be. I mean, I know where she lives, I know how she might be snowed in, so, I mean, if that's something I can do, I mean, prescription-wise, Metcalf or Montrose can take care of, but aspirin I can't.
Do you
So-
ever put anything or post anything where people could, like, I'm heading to Maxford today to run errands?
Yeah, I would take stuff.
You know, just say like, hey, we're always looking for this, if you are heading in these different directions, please call us, and then if we have someone that needs a meal, would you be willing to take it? Or something like that, where it's just a one-off thing, to where we can serve.
Do you know, Montrose used to do that, because I worked in our town every day, they'd say, will you pick up something at the drugstore and take it to St. Charles? I gladly did, I was going home every day.
We've dropped stuff off at Montrose and St. Charles before.
Yeah.
That they knew they wouldn't be home, but if we could leave it at Montrose, they'll stop and pick it up. So,
I could do that too.
It's just an
Yeah,
idea, if
it's a
that's
good
something
idea.
to the folks that don't have it in the more rural areas, they don't have people to go out there, it's just a one-off thing, hey, I can deliver a meal because I'm heading out to Peru today, I can drop it off or something.
and we always have frozen meals, you know, so that if we need to, we can sack up a bag pretty easy.
And right now, we can just leave it in the car
Exactly.
and it stays nice and
Be fine.
frozen.
Unless it's eggs, really. Could we do a county food drive for you and you gave a list of things you wanted? Because I'd gladly give you 50 pounds of flour. Could you do that?
We can, as long as, like the package isn't opened, that it's,
Sure,
you know,
if you just
FDA
wrote
approved,
specific
that type
things you wanted somebody to drop off, I think people would gladly drop off.
Yeah.
For ongoing needs, just post it.
Yeah.
So this is our ongoing need, if you can drop stuff off. I mean, you're right across from Hy-Vee, they can just go right over.
Yeah, people would, I think people would do that.
Yeah, I think overall people are pretty kind-hearted. Well, I'm speaking for, you know, us here in the county, Iowa. Pretty generous, kind-hearted.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think we are.
All right, well, Tammy, thanks for everything you
Thanks,
do.
Tam.
I've gotten to appreciate it a lot more this last year, so thank you for being there. And
No problem at
sounds like
all.
you've got challenges to deal with up north, so good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see how Rainbow's doing right now, and see, we've got insulation hanging from the ceilings and.
Oh, gee.
I've been through that before.
I've
so-
unfortunately had to call Rainbow this last year as well.
So,
You do a great job.
Okay, thank you, you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Heard it at 10:30. I had a schedule a little bit.
Yeah, I usually don't take very long, do I?
I appreciate that, nothing wrong with that.
If I'm out of here at 11, ask the library. When interstate parents asked how many books were checked out per year, 92
At what library?
at the
That's
school
true.
library.
Well, no,
92.
they're coming to the, we're True Library is coming, right?
I don't know. if they-
Truro and St. Charles are both invited.
Oh, okay.
But 92 is all that was checked out. You know, people are so concerned about the books kids are reading, and my neighbors all have young high school kids, and they said they aren't reading. It's the phones they're worried about, because the
Yeah,
schools,
phones are
they're
that
not
worried.
checking out books.
There are schools now, I've seen on the news, that they're making kids check their phones and at school. They drop off their phones before they go to class, so they can't have their phones.
We
They've
do
gone
that.
back to textbooks, they've gone away from these because they found it's distracting, it actually interferes with learning.
We,
I don't know if it's gonna work or not.
when we go on vacation, we have a shoebox and everybody puts their phones in. We just, I don't know, I think you need a break.
When we did snow yesterday and looked, watched it, you left your phone behind. I'm like, good. You know, where's that?
After our insurance meeting on Friday, Phil and I touched base on Monday just to get him up to speed on that. Do we think, we wanna put off doing open enrollment in February, because we're gonna move forward with a 7-1 renewal? We just need to know.
We've got a pathway forward to get to a 7-1.
Yeah, I
I'd
have.
like to do that.
Okay, perfect. I told Kelly to go ahead
I
and
think
get
Kelly
yours
was-
scheduled for February 1st, and then we could cancel once I had a chance to just make
Yeah.
sure you guys were all on board with that, moving to a 7-1, then we'll push open enrollment to June.
Yeah, I think we were on, yeah.
Then when we just, communicate really well the gap,
The FSA
the
gap.
FSA gap, so
Mhm.
folks can be handheld through that. Because it was a learning curve for them to get it this year, now it's, I wanna make sure that there's no gap in coverage.
The little kids are so cute. They come up to the door and they like to come in so they can see everything. They're only like kindergartners. And they write her notes and then she writes them. I think she gives them things. They're just adorable.
I hosted a field trip for Winterset Christian Academy to get a tour of the courthouse. I gotta tell you guys this was before the holidays, because in late December, but anyway, they were so excited to see the courthouse, they wanted to see the jail.
They do.
They wanted to hear the story, and then, when they looked into the judge's chambers, those are a lot of books. I said, yes, those are all law books. Those are a lot of laws. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you ever wanted to go to law school, there you go,
There you
lots
go.
of reading.
Here's your books.
I took a little boy into the, was it 2 little boys and his dad, and downstairs, he wanted to see the jail. And he looks around and he goes, Daddy, where's the potty?
Oh,
He
they
goes,
asked that too.
They all
They
ask-
all
it
asked, where do you go to
freaks
the
them
bathroom?
out. There's no.
And I said, well, they had a bucket.
That's what they said.
Ew, and this little boy.
Did he cry?
No,
I'm
he
never
says, well, why
going
can't I
to
just
jail."
pee in the corner?
Oh, he must be a parky.
This little boy. I was like, well, I suppose you could do that, yeah, but,
That it blows their mind that there's no bail.
And then, for the gallery above the courthouse, I asked them, did you want to see the secret room? Let's go see the secret room, and they were just so excited to see it.
It is.
It's fun seeing their faces.
It would be really neat if that was back to its original.
I wished it
Yeah.
was, because it's so beautiful up there.
Yeah.
Now
You just
that
can't
it's kinda
imagine
clean.
everybody in town coming out to see somebody's trial hanging out up there.
Well, that's what they asked, the kids asked, they said, well, why would people sit here and watch the court cases? I said, well, that was entertainment, they didn't have
They used
TV. They had great,
It's kind of like an
radio,
old
but-
John Grissom novel or something,
Yeah.
coming out.
And then there was a couple more of the books up there, I don't know if they were other tax books or other laws.
We left the books that Linda and Jared said to leave, and then in the basement of the courthouse, we've got books that should probably be picked up by their own, like the treasure, there's a lot that we
Yeah.
can't read.
But, so I opened a few of them, and the kids were like, what is that? I said, that's handwriting.
Yeah, they don't, it's so good. It's that script.
And I said, well, this when people come in, they pay their taxes, and they pay their bills, and then they write it down by hand, and they say books. And one little boy's like, that's not a lot of money. I said, back then it was.
You know, what if they-
And the teachers there, I said, I wish my taxes were $4.61.
Yeah.
That would be nice. But anyway, it was fun.
I wish we do. I'm trying try to work with Diane Mayer to do more tours and get the kids over here so they have a sense of pride.
Well, WCA is just like, they meet the
Yeah.
full sprinter, so it's a really short walk for them. But I would love to have all the kids in all the schools.
Because you talk to kids at Interstate, they've never been in the courthouse. I think that's terrible.
So the teachers told me that the kids were talking about that tour for 3 weeks afterwards.
Sure.
Because they were so, they thought it was so cool. And then the names of all the soldiers. And then the ones where they had the star, like where they perished. And like, they died? I said, yes, they died fighting for freedom. And they got this little sad face, and I'm like, wow.
You know,
So.
I don't hear the sounds and the ghost sounds after the windows are in. You guys, the woo sound we used to have.
I never heard a ghost before.
I heard the sounds. Well, I come in early, but it used to go in the morning and it doesn't anymore.
It's creepy in here by yourself.
Well, when you're.
It's pretty cool. It is kind of, it has its own weird sounds, because
Well, at
I,
night, I hear the elevator
Yeah.
doors
You
open.
really play by yourself. Ding, ding.
They're like, who is in the elevator?
Yep. Yeah, it goes so you have legs. Yeah, it's
So,
weird.
yeah, it is kind of weird.
Mhm.
One night I was here, I heard creaking on the steps.
oh, now that'd be a little scary.
I was like,
Do you know what I found when we were cleaning out the balcony? Actually, my daughter-in-law found it, and we, CICS took it. It was old, very old papers of people that had been punished for, he was punished for stealing somebody's cow. So to repay it, they made him pay a wagon of corn. I could have read them all day. It was fabulous
Oh.
stuff.
well, that barter system back then, I mean, it
Well,
makes
they didn't
sense.
have any money.
They didn't have
Dad
money.
said during the Depression, nobody had money. You traded everything.
Who I was talking to, somebody said, I don't know if it was a kid or somebody got into some sort of criminal trouble of some sort, and their, part of their community service was refinishing the doors of the courthouse.
Really?
And it's been a long time ago.
Wow,
I wish
maybe
I
we should go
remembered.
back to
That's what,
that.
that's what I said, I was like, well, I didn't know we had anybody in town that was experienced, we could hit you up.
Did somebody need, like, for service hours, that's how the flag got painted in the basement?
Yes, and then there was a kid here when I first started that was dusting steps because he had community service.
Yeah.
And I
We
went
used
out.
to have them all the
Well,
time.
they did, and he was on the, Denny had him, and he was
They used to
on
dust
his
and
phone, and I
stuff.
said, what are you here for? And he said, because I'm having community service. I said, get off your phone. He said, okay, and he put his phone away. Yeah, Denny had quite a
But
few.
yeah, I didn't hear the one, the flag that's painted in the basement
Was that,
was community service.
we used to have some talent.
Maybe we should ask Jason if we go back to that.
I have, and I asked it at Fifth Judicial District, and you'd have thought I was just surrounded. It's too much liability. I said, why? I think it's a terrible waste of resources. Let them go out and sort things at the landfill and fix the chair and sell the chair, but they just won't
We
even
had chain
discuss it.
gangs in Arizona,
I know.
out in the heat.
Mississippi still has them, and they have those chains on them.
We were dressed ours in pink.
Well, and you had pink underwear, and they lived on the desert.
We had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
That's really true.
Yep.
Pink underwear.
Pink
Sure.
underwear, chair door file, because the idea was he didn't want them to come back.
And they never did.
If it was comfortable, then they'd want to come back. So they pitched these tents in the desert, in the heat, they have to live out there, they
And
have
they had
plenty of water.
flip-flops.
Flip-flops, pink underwear, t-shirts, they had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
And if they wanted to escape, you let them, because they
They
couldn't.
couldn't go very far.
They had flip-flops. It
And
really
then
was,
they do chain gangs, literally, and they pick up trash along the way.
Yeah, I remember seeing those down in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I've seen that in
Mississippi
Iowa before,
has them.
occasionally you'll see a corrections vehicle, and there'll be, and there's usually a kaibo and a trailer behind them.
Oh,
Because they
yeah.
can't take them out with a
Yes.
place, they can't just use a can anymore, apparently.
I'm all about making it not convenient, because you don't want them back.
Well-
Have you been in a kaibo? There's nothing to be.
Yeah.
that's true. But I agree, I think the prison, they need to be rehabilitated if they can. And let them work. Let them go work out somewhere. I think it's sad.
Does our prison system still make our license plates?
Yes, and we have Prison Industries,
They
we
do some
order
signs.
signs, they do signs.
You get signs.
You can buy things from Prison Industry, but then they argue, because you remember when Iowa State sells trees, then private sector say, well, that's not fair because they're government funded and they're, and that's said in Prison Industry. Oh, HIRTA's at 10:30, oh, we have one.
Yeah, we got a break time. And the chamber said they couldn't come until 11. I said, it's not worth trying to shuffle everybody, we'll just
Right.
squeeze them in.
You guys in Steve's meeting, do you remember when Christina's pen and it was like a high pitched noise?
It sounded like Steve Pearson during his whole meeting. I didn't notice it till Emily pointed it out, and then I couldn't get it out of my head. So when I got this pen out today, it did that. I was like, nope. I'm very
Okay.
sensitive.
I hear a lot of things I never heard before, but that did not hear that one.
Oh man, it's like a dog high pitch.
You guys have a list of who you're doing today? I didn't see a breakdown on the agenda
Not on the agenda.
unless I was missing
I just
something.
sent an email out to people that were coming, and most of them said they were good to make it. But then, like, the libraries, by statute, we're required to fund the libraries. So, but it's like, well, let's find out what's going on. So a few years
Right.
ago, we started inviting them, but Winterset
They
usually
rarely
shows up.
show.
The other ones rarely. Maybe, hopefully they do, hopefully they don't. Or, not hopefully they don't.
I just wondered if we had a list, 'cause I don't know who, I get the gist
Yeah.
listening, but,
Well, next we have HIRTA, then we have Matura, then we have
oh,
the
Matura's
library,
actually,
then the libraries, and then the chamber is supposed to show up earlier, they're gonna show up later, so.
all right.
I suspect it'll be done before noon unless all the libraries show up.
I gotta be home by 1 o'clock.
I got a meeting at noon, so.
Okay, good. My wonderful tractor hydraulics went out at the greatest time on the
You've just
planet.
had a time, haven't you?
You're just having a hard time with your equipment.
That's okay. I pray every morning. And numerous times a day, if you wanna know the truth.
Here is
I
a-
told Brett Terhar, I said, I don't know, maybe I'm not doing it right.
Here's what
I don't know what I'm
happens when
doing.
kids are stranded at home too long. They put googly eyes
That was a safe
on
one.
their dogs. And this dog thinks it's wonderful. His
Oh.
mom, Katie said he walks around all day with that googly eye.
I had to drop off my dog this morning at the vet because I don't know how she did it, but she ripped off her dew claw.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
So I dropped her off, like, we'll just trim it, it'll be all right, it'll grow back, and bandage it. I'm like, okay, it's fine. And, because my husband's like, why is there a pool of blood on our back porch? What?
That little kitten, the grandkids found it, it was 10 days old, and the vet said we'll have to remove its eye. It had a terrible infection, it was awful.
Finally got my snow piled up where
They
I
carried
think I
it
can handle
around
the snow, and then I look at the
pockets,
weather,
they
it's like,
bottle
it's
fed
gonna
it.
melt, and it's gonna rain. I pretty much built the levee.
We're gonna flood,
So
yeah.
I need to find the
Now
low
it's all
spot, and dig
confined.
a channel in it.
Cat instincts.
That's the truth.
She doesn't go in the, she doesn't
No,
go in the litter box?
the litter box is fine, but if the kids are taking a shower, she's in the shower. If the kids are in the tub, if they open the oven, she jumps on the hot door. She
Oh.
has no instincts at all. She is afraid of.
Good morning, Julian.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. We're a little ahead of schedule,
She's
so if you're
great,
ready, go
but
ahead and have a
put
seat.
her outside.
You're up.
Can I sit up here? Yeah,
Sure
sure.
can.
It's more comfortable.
Big comfy chair.
Probably warmer too.
It may be, it is.
It is a little warmer today.
It's in minus 8.
Did it really?
So, it's
Oh, I never saw negatives today.
Better than
Great.
20, I'll take it. If the sun shines, it's okay.
I'm kind of like, if it's below zero, isn't it pretty much all just
That's
like
kind of what we
way
discussed,
cold?
you know. I know absolute zero is a lot colder than negative Fahrenheit, but there's come some point when it's all the same.
I'm kind of with you there. Oh.
I saw a car yesterday, they were from Texas.
Oh, poor babies.
They would drive his car, he'd go just inch and inch, I don't think.
I saw a guy at Arizona place, and he was the same way.
Oh, yeah, they don't.
Well, they don't know.
You're not even picking up on that, Jeff.
What'd I do?
Jeff's rental car is Arizona.
I was like, is he from Arizona?
Oh, I didn't even realize it had Arizona plate. I swear. Maybe I should have made sure it was licensed and the rental company actually owned it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen
Sometimes
one.
it's good to just be oblivious to
I-
what's going on
apparently.
around you.
Apparently, I'm happy.
Stopped down
I
here
know.
on 6992, every single vehicle can't get started.
yeah, because it's a sheet ice.
Yeah.
Why don't they put some sand on
I
it?
don't know,
I know the city
yesterday
was
when I
putting some
left
sand
town, it
out,
was
but
terrible,
I-
today when I got to town, it's different.
Anyway,
It's
enough
not
of that, you get water
My
back to your
daughter,
house?
yes,
Good.
yes, we have great neighbors, but yeah, my pipes froze completely, so.
Oh, yours?
You know, and having my husband home on hospice and our 3-month-old grandbaby and I was working from home and, you know, nobody can go anywhere.
At least he had heat.
We had heat. We just didn't have any water, so we just went and bought a bunch of bottled water and got through the day. And then our neighbor came over with a blowtorch and got the thing, and then we realized there's some insulation that has, I don't know where it went, does it just disintegrate? I don't know, but it's not there where it used to be, so, so we got that all fixed, so that's all good. But, my daughter-in-law got stuck in our driveway today, so she couldn't, I mean, Fagan had to go out and try to shovel her out this morning so she could get to school, because she works at the Greenfield School, on time, but it's just,
It's
It
challenging.
is what it
It just
is.
is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
you know, and Fagan came in and goes, "Mom, I think I need some gloves," and I'm like, "Oh, well, you're 21 years old, and I don't supply those for you anymore."
You don't have this big cardboard box full of gloves and mittens like we do at home?
I still have a huge amount of gloves from the kids.
I probably have a pile of 1 gloves that don't match, because, you know, you always think you're gonna find that second
As
glove.
long as you got it right and left.
Yeah, who cares?
All right, well, Julia, you were up for HIRTA, so give us a little bit of update on what's going on with HIRTA,
Okay,
and let
so,
us know what you need. Kind of give you a little.
did you get the letter?
I did, I don't know.
Because I forgot to bring a copy of it.
Did
so-
anyone else
I
get it,
know.
or is it just that?
I didn't get a letter.
I don't think
No, I
Just
sent it
let
to
me forward
you
it.
as the supervisor, as the
I got it.
chair.
it's okay.
No, I can
How
forward
much do you need?
It's
it. Let me
okay.
forward it real quick.
So I think it was, I think it's just. I
It
think
does
the
say
address-
Supervisor Clinton on it.
I know, I
Must have
know.
been from back when Wayne was around.
Clifton Clinton.
Well, just tell me.
I
I'll
put
take my
Clifton in the
computer.
first part, I did your name
You
right.
did say Phil on it, yeah.
So, it's the weather, I'm gonna blame everything on the weather.
We'll accept that.
Oh, then I didn't, I'll send it to you.
So, but anyway, things with HIRTA are going well, ridership is up, we did, 3,666 trips in Madison County last year, and the ages of the riders ranged from 4 to 95, so we're serving a large range of people going.
How many trips did you say?
3,666.
3,650
Or just
trips?
call it 600.
30666.
3666.
Can't you make it 3667
Seven?
Let's do it.
or 5?
Either way, well,
I'm gonna make that 6 and 8.
all right.
What's a couple of riders? So 164 of those were unique riders, so that's how many people that we had.
164 people.
That took 3,668 rides.
So it's pretty much regulars.
So, a lot of them.
Okay.
We do have, so this year, well, last year, I guess, in Madison County, we also started a volunteer driver program. And so this year, in Madison County, we have 5 volunteers, and, I got some stats on that too.
Is that,
HIRTA Health.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what that is.
so, in Madison County, so anyway, in Madison County, we have 5 volunteers that take people, and, there was, so some of those, like there was an older adult in Earlham that was not able to access the grocery store, and that's really far for us to take a bus just to pick up one person, so we have a driver that picks her up on a weekly basis and takes her.
Julie, you might share with the rest of the board how that affects funding. Well, as a volunteer, since we're the coordinator, we get credit for a ride, and then that comes back through the state and federal, correct?
So the volunteer program is a little bit different because it's partially funded through this, AmeriCorps. And so, but yes, you're right, I mean, we can count the rides. We can count the rides as ridership, but we don't get funded for those because it's already funded through a volunteer program. So those aren't counted in
But it
this.
does count in ridership formula.
It counts in the ridership formula, which nobody seems to know what that formula actually is on how that all.
The more rides you're involved with.
The more rides and the
money
more
you get.
miles we put on a vehicle, the more money we get. That's the case. And I've really been working with DOT on that because that seems like the most inefficient way to do it is to count how many miles you put on your buses. And so what that has some transit systems doing is they like those one-on-one trips, right? Because that puts more miles on their bus. And we want to be more efficient so it costs less and put more people on a bus at a time. But then we see our funding go down when we're more efficient. So we're trying to work with them to put some efficiencies in there. And at the federal level, that's starting to work. I have a meeting this afternoon about that. But anyway, so we've done that. We had somebody who had to access medical procedures because they had to have anesthesia when they did it. And that's not a great time to ride the bus when you're after, you're coming out of that. So we had somebody go, and the beauty of the volunteer program is they've got somebody that can go with them, and they want to be there as a support, so it's more than just a bus driver can do. So we had somebody who needed to go to the Greyhound Depot just because they needed to go see their family over the holidays. We had to transport somebody to Nora to visit a loved one that was dying, and so that's the beauty of the volunteer program is that we can do a lot of those. And so in addition to serving Winterset, we serve people from County Earlham, East Peru, and Van Meter on that program. So that's growing.
Can you provide numbers for those?
I could, but I don't have them right now. I mean, I can get them to you later, but I don't know what they are right now.
Okay.
I've been gone, and so then I just got as much information as I could for writing.
Do these people that use HIRTA, do they not own a vehicle, or they can't drive, or what?
It's a variety of things. Some of them only have one vehicle, so somebody's taken that to work, and so that leaves the person at home that might have children that needs to, get to the grocery store or get their kids to school. Sometimes we're starting to see some of that happen again, or daycare, those types of things. It could be they can't drive anymore. They're older, they've lost their license, they're not safe to drive anymore. Or it could be much like they need to go to the doctor and they don't feel good, so they don't want to drive because they don't know what's going to happen, and so it's a variety of things. Also, just going to the grocery store, our driver will help you get your groceries out of the bus and take them up to your door, right? If you're in your car and you're older and you're doing that, then a lot of times that's all on you, and so people will use us for those types of things as well.
For the one in Earlham, when you say they had to go to the grocery store, I'm assuming they're going to the grocery store in Earlham, or are you driving them back to?
No, they're going to the grocery store.
So,
we try to keep them in their communities, but that's not always the case. That we bring from St. Charles, she wants to do all of her shopping here. She does her pharmacy work, or her pharmacy stuff here. So she schedules a day of it, and we literally have a day just transporting her around Winterset to do all of her business because, and she's got some mental issues, and so there's only certain days that she feels like she can go out and get out. and
At least
do
she
it.
realizes that she should schedule it all in the same.
At the same time. And really, she can get everything here, and she can't St. Charles, so I don't begrudge her coming.
No, I don't either. I mean, and that's the thing about serving people that don't live in Winterset. Winterset is usually where they come. Even if we're picking them up out in the country or in a non-rated area, those aren't where the services are. The services they need are usually here in Winterset, so that's usually where they come. Or some people do medical in Earlham, they go there for a clinic or that.
Now, if they would say, she would say, I want to go to Des Moines, I don't want to go to Winterset, would you encourage her to go to Winterset because it's closer and it's in county, or what do you have to do, what they say, or?
No, we don't have to do what they say, but if, going to Des Moines is harder, because that takes almost, takes a driver away.
Sure.
And, so we try, we'll take them if they need to, or we'll try to get them on volunteer, to hook up with a volunteer that would take them. So it doesn't take one of our drivers away from here.
Is there any way to restrict that? Because
Yeah.
like, for instance, Dart can't drive out to Earlham, Des
No.
Moines, so is there any way we can just restrict it, saying this is just for Madison County?
No. We don't have to take people to Des Moines, and we very seldom take them on HIRTA service, unless we should have a driver. But sometimes that's where the specialty clinics are, and so if you still have a person that doesn't drive, and that's where they need to go, there might not be another choice unless they use like a Joyride or whatever, and they charge, like it would probably cost them $75 each way to go on that trip, and that's really not affordable. So that's kind of why we started the volunteer program too, was to help us cut back on the cost of what it costs, so we're not, and again, so we're not taking a driver out of service to go all that way.
It's not economical to transport one
It's
person with
not.
a 15-passenger van to.
It isn't.
And it's kind of a big ask, if you're asking somebody to take you for free.
Yeah, and we can tell them, no, we can't do it. We absolutely can do that, and we do that quite often, and people say, that's really where I need to go, so then we have this as another option. But we can restrict, yes, we can restrict them. The way that it's sort of looked at is if we're taking somebody from a county that we serve, like Madison County, and taking them somewhere else, we're still serving somebody from Madison County. It may not be within Madison County, but we're picking them up here. It's not like we pick somebody up outside of our county and take them places.
But it sounds like you encourage them to stay in their county.
We do, and we tell them what we can do on the day that they need it, and if we can't do that, we don't do it, and we refer them to other places.
So do you have, especially with all this weather, because I know there's some talk about HIRTA getting some electric vehicles, how are those functioning?
We don't have any yet.
Okay.
We have some on contract, but one of the things I was gonna talk about was one of the challenges right now going on in the transportation industry is we can't get vehicles, period. We can't get any type of vehicles. We literally just got some Ford Transits delivered last month, and those have been on order for almost 2 years.
And the nice thing about those is they're a little bit more right size instead of the big blue buses.
And that's
They're
what we're
slightly
really,
smaller.
and that's more of what we're trying to do too, because we've sort of changed our service model a little bit, mainly because a lot of the group homes don't do group home trips anymore. We're not taking a bunch of people all to go to work at one particular place anymore. They're encouraged to be out in the community and doing jobs that they can do out in the community. So all of those group trips that we used to take on the bigger buses are now more one-on-one trips. And so the Ford Transits, which are 9-passenger vehicles, it's a smoother ride, easier to maintain, less cost.
Find someone to drive.
Easier to find somebody to drive because they do not need a CDL. They have to have a passenger endorsement, but they don't need a CDL. And so that has allowed us to hire drivers that want to really be out in the community helping people, but they don't have to get a CDL to do that.
So on here you're asking for the 17,000, which is what we're doing now, correct? And then 10,000 for a local capital match, so that's new.
I think I think we asked for capital match last year, but we didn't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically
it-
the same request
It
as last
is,
year.
it is the same request, and that is because we are trying to buy these Ford Transits, because those, we can't get buses. I mean, we literally, we're probably 2 to 3 years out before we can get a bus. The Ford Transits are easier for us to get, now that they're starting to ramp up production of those. But because it's a smaller vehicle and people use those Ford Transits for all kinds of things, delivery and all types of things, they're ramping those up. And so that's part of why we can buy those, and so. They are cheaper, they're still $100,000. We used to be able to get them for 70, now they're about $100,000. But they're still cheaper, they're gas, which is easier to maintain, and it's just like a vehicle that we would drive. Nobody needs any special maintenance knowledge they need maintenance knowledge, but they don't need a bus maintenance.
Right.
They can do these Ford Transits, and so we're really trying to flip our fleet where we're doing more Ford Transits and retiring some of those 23 passenger buses, because we just don't need, we need a few of them because we still do trips. We still do some group trips, like if the nursing home wants us to do a group trip, we can do those. Obviously, we're not going to do it in this weather. But so we still want to keep some of those larger buses in our fleet, but we're not using them to carry 2 to 3 people. But that's what we're doing, the smaller ones.
So last year we gave you 17, and then you're asking for 27.
Yes,
If they
So-
tend us to get a new vehicle.
it's a match for a new.
Can you tell me how much Winterset gave last year?
I couldn't tell you offhand either.
Because I know when I first came on board,
It seems like it was 15. I think you cut it down from 17 to 15.
Okay, if you could let us know, just shoot an email to myself and I'll forward it.
Yeah.
As to what Winterset gave. What was the other question?
the other question was
Volunteer rides?
no, the riders served, so like, last year when you did the
She wants to know
presentation,
what towns have
what towns are the,
females.
so like last year it was, I think it was like 91% of the riders were from Winterset,
Right.
and, yeah, so.
St.
Yeah, and I
Charles
can
had-
do that, and I do have that file at home, I just.
If you can break out Winterset proper and then Winterset.
Winterset rural.
I can do that, and I know we did that last year, and again, and I will absolutely do that for you this year, and I can also kind of tell you like where they went, but the majority, I believe, of the people that were picking up there, they still come into Winterset
Sure.
because that's what they're,
I
doing.
think what
Yes,
we're
I
really
will
interested
get
in
those
is
and the amount.
location of residency.
Yeah, the residency, yeah.
Would you send that to all of us?
Yes, I will.
Please.
Absolutely do that.
And then, I know you said you don't do a lot of trips outside of Madison County, but can you break down how many trips?
But we wouldn't be paying for that, that would be, wouldn't you break that out to something else?
If they're serving somebody from Madison County, it's considered serving a Madison County resident.
Yeah, break
and-
that out.
But yes, I can, do that, and I'm not even sure we did any of those last year because of, we just don't have the number of drivers that we used to in Madison County anymore. We do have 2 positions open right now for a full-time and a part-time, and I just got 10 applications, so that means people, I was surprised too, but.
Is that because there's no CDL required for these 4
I think
transits?
so. I think that's part of it. One lady, I just read her application this morning, and she said, I'm sure I'll need a chauffeur's license, but I'm happy to get that, but just wanting a position to drive, so.
What does the passenger endorsement entail? So you don't need a CDL, but you need a passenger.
You have to have a passenger endorsement, and it's just it's some extra training that you have to go through, and it's mainly so that you know how to drive with other people in your car.
Is it an
how to be
online
safe.
training?
No. But we do it. We do that training to get them ready just to do what they need to do to get that endorsement.
So it's just to teach you to drive with other people in your car. Well, every mother should qualify. Right.
But they have to know how to use we don't have a lift and.
And how to fasten a
do the ramp
wheelchair.
and fasten wheelchairs and different things like that, but much like you would if you were a chauffeur, and that type of license. But that's super easy for people to get, and so all of that we teach them. Even if, we'll hire them even without that, and then put them through the training until they can get it, so. But anyway, I was really surprised we got 10 just from Winterset, the Winterset area, and that was really great.
Good.
So I don't think we'll have a problem filling those 2 positions, so I'm super excited about that. What else was I gonna, some other things that I think that we're doing really well. The average wait time for the on-demand trips, like same-day type trips, nationally, that wait time is 27 minutes and ours is 16, so we're above average on that. And our average star rating, because if they use the app, they can also tell us how our trip was, is 4.9% out of 5. So I think we've learned how, since we're not as busy as we were pre-pandemic, I want to say, but ridership is starting to pick up and people are starting to get to know us more. I think we've learned how to do our services better so that we're more focused on the person, not just that they're going somewhere, but what is their actual need and taking care of them throughout that trip.
So you make it more personal.
We try to. I mean, it is really about that for people. That's why a lot of people ride, and we get comments all the time about, thank you, your driver really went above and beyond. And we have to keep our drivers safe too. This weather's really hard. Like, I don't want our driver traipsing through, mounds of snow to get to somebody to get them out. But if they see a need, they're just people and they try to do the best they can to help with them. So we've got some really good drivers.
And your drivers, not unlike Tammy was here for Elderly Services, share the story about the driver that found a person that was unresponsive, and I don't remember the details on it. It wasn't Madison County, but that
It was in Jasper County.
Yeah.
And she picked this guy up to go to dialysis on a regular basis 3 times a week. And he wasn't answering, and she's like, something's wrong. And she banged and banged on the door, and she hollered for him, and he's like, I'm not going today. And she's like, so he came to the door, and she saw like his shirt was like halfway buttoned, like all askew, and scared him thinking home to kind of learn his words. And she's like, no, you're getting in this bus. And she saved his life. Like, he was so close to, he would have died had he not gone. And, it's just those types of things. We've had drivers that have actually found people who have been laying, they fell over the weekend. So Monday morning, they're ready for their trip and they can't get a hold of them, and then they'll hear a noise and, call us to see what do we do, and we usually call, for a welfare check or an ambulance, depending on what the situation is, and they found somebody who laid there all weekend, So our drivers are much different than like fixed route drivers where, you just pull up to a curb and people get on and they go and do their thing. Our drivers have this personal connection because our drivers usually come from the communities that we serve. We want to hire people in Winterset that serve Madison County or from Earlham or wherever they are, but we want to hire Madison County people to serve Madison County people.
Well, we know each other, that helps.
It really does help.
Sure.
I mean, there was a gentleman that his wife ended up at Asria, and he barely take care of himself, but very proud. Wouldn't take any additional services, but took HIRTA to go see his wife at Asria every single day. Because he didn't think she was gonna ever come home, and what do you do in a situation like that? You have to take them. He couldn't afford to pay, we just took him free of charge, because you have to, that's his whole livelihood is there in the nursing home right now. You can't not take somebody. So those are types of stories they call us and we hear those and we're like, we can do this. And we do have a small fund that we use that people can donate to. It's called Adopt a Rider, and so we'll dip into those funds for situations just exactly like that gentleman, so that we can take him on a free, but it's free to him, it still costs us to go. But those are stories you just have to make sure that they.
So the average person could give you a $50 gift gas card?
You know, gas, I mean, I,
HIRTA,
they could, but most of the times they just give, they're just small donations, like we'll get $25 and say use this for somebody who can't afford to pay, or, you know, and so we just put it into a fund, and when we get calls from people like this that are like, I can't pay you, but I need to go see my wife every day, then we'll just dip into those funds and say we'll use them. You know, because transportation, if you can't get there, you know, then what would that do to him? What would that do to his health if he couldn't go see his wife? Or her health? You know, well, we know how important that is. Phil and I both have, you know, that situation. Like I've got my husband in hospice right now, and he was in a nursing home, and I had to go see him. He didn't know who I was, but for me, I had to continue to go see him. You know, it's important. And so, and I think some of my personal experiences, because I've had that with my mom, my husband, that plays on my emotions as well, and so we have to do things like that. But the other important things are people need to go to the grocery store and get food, or, you know, whatever. I don't know what their situation is, but if it's important to them, we need to get them there, and that's how we look at it. We don't really question where they need to go or why they need to go there. It's more, if this is a need for you, then who am I to question what your need is? You know? So.
You guys have any other questions for
No,
Julie?
thank you.
All right,
Thank
Julie, what
you.
we're doing is,
Thanks
this is our
for what you
4th
do.
day of meetings. They're giving everybody their asks. Our next round of meetings will be, here's what you got to work with, and
We'll start.
try to make everything match up, so.
Yeah, and
Appreciate you coming in.
we had no idea, like, I mean, you know, we're asking for what we need. The other thing I'll just say is, as with everybody, our expenses have gone up too. And maintenance has gone up high. You know, in order for us to keep drivers and staff, we've had to raise wages in order to compete. So all of that has gone up, much like it has with everybody else, but, so we're asking for what we need, but whatever it is that we can get is going to be as helpful as it possibly can. We are also very resourceful trying to go after additional funds. We know you can't do it all. And we do get money from the city of Winterset now, and we're gonna start, looking at some of the other cities we serve and asking them to tip them too.
Well, that's a good idea.
Everybody kinda needs to pay for, you know, some of the people that reside where they reside.
Yeah, I agree.
Julie, on a HIRTA note, I probably won't be able to chair the meeting on Thursday because I'm not down. I'll probably be able to call in, but somebody else can chair it.
Okay.
I assume we're having a meeting next Thursday.
We're
It's on the
supposed
calendar.
to, Bill's not gonna be there, so I need to find
You
out.
might reach out. I can probably call in, but I'll definitely be on the way to the airport.
Okay, well, we might have to change that meeting to another day. Okay,
All
I'll
right,
talk to you
anyway,
about that.
heads up on that.
We will talk to you about that.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm gonna go back out into the cold tundra of Winterset.
It's all relevant. My wife said this morning, "Oh, it's not so bad out there today." Well, yeah, it's all relevant.
My watch says 15 degrees. That's gonna, I'm not sure why I want to go.
It's not bad out there.
Right now? Yeah. All right.
Thanks. It's
Thank
always
you so
cold.
much.
It's cold here in the summertime.
It is.
All right.
Go ahead, yeah.
We're ahead of schedule, Dana. If you want to come up, you can go next. And Diane has to leave at 11, so at least
Oh,
you'll get to hear 10
Okay,
minutes.
a little bit.
You'll-
Here is the official minute for you to initial,
Okay.
and then do the motion and the time, and then
Okay.
give it to Shelley, and I'll be, give her a few minutes for it.
Good morning. Hi. How are you? Good, thank you. How are you? Good. Good to see everybody. So I'm giving you our annual report as well as our apps this year. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you seeing, just, it looks like more and more need?
You know, those COVID times were really nice, but you know, they're gone. And the need is still there, so, last year I know we visited about, my fiscal officer Melissa Baker and I's goal to get wages up for our center staff, so, I think we requested the same amount as, the year before, but,
Is that the same?
yes.
You're
Yeah.
asking 12,951,
Yeah.
I think.
So, a lot of things play into what can help with their wages and keeping the center going. Of course, your donation and our request to you folks is, part of that and very helpful. How they do in their thrift stores, what income they have coming in there, plays a part in paying the bills and their wages. And then, of course, our grants, so, they're paid out of several different grants that help with that as well. Yeah, so you can see money's coming into, Madison County in 2022 fiscal year, pretty much double.
It's great that weatherization is up, how and why?
So we contracted with a gentleman who worked for Impact, and he actually moved to Nebraska. So it's easy for him to get to Madison County. So we actually did quite a few audits in Madison County, and were able to get some homes completed in Madison County. A few of our others, Adair County, that was close to him. We just tried to cut down on his travel time and tried to do the northern counties as best we could and serve them.
So weatherization, what would, we need as far as windows or not quite that
No,
extreme?
so it would be putting in an energy efficient furnace, water heater, insulation, insulating the home well. We can do, like, if there's a broken window, like replacing glass, but to replace the windows, we don't do because it's just not cost efficient.
Can you pair up with CCOG with all that money they have for this?
So,
And they have that really short window, you could put all your names of people.
yeah, they, I was contacted by, Adams County, folks about CCOG money that will actually help with like roofs and windows and, things like that. So, yeah, we're excited and hopefully we can get a piece of that pie to help folks, because we can't weatherize if there's something wrong with the roof. Cause there's no point in putting thousands of dollars of insulation in their attic for the roof to ruin it.
So has CCOG contacted you or just Adams?
No, it was Adams County that, reached out to me to.
They're kind of asking the counties, CCOG is reaching out, but they're trying to ask everybody.
So if you would please reach out to CCOG to see if they can help
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get some of those funds. That would be
Yeah,
great.
I know, I'm excited, yeah. So yeah, a lot of COVID funds came in, as well, so that was helpful. They switched from 175% poverty to 200, which caught some of those people that were right on the edge.
Said 100 and what?
It was 175 and we bumped it up to 200 during COVID. We're keeping our fingers crossed that they leave it at 200 and don't move it back down. So I think that was part of why we saw an increase, and just because COVID hit everybody. I mean, it didn't matter who you were, so.
I don't think, based on the current legislation being discussed, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting too, but, you know. The LIWAP, the Low Income Water Assistance Program, is, no longer, so they stopped, with those funds, so. But yeah, that was very helpful as well to folks with their water bills. The LIHEAP Cares was a COVID funding, and it switched to ARPA funds, so that's why we have, CARES was in 21, but then ARPA was in 22, just the name of it kind of switched, the funding, switched, so.
When will you have fiscal year like that?
We don't come out with our annual report for 23 till, the end of our fiscal 23.
Okay.
so it won't be till September next year.
So these are based on your fiscal,
Our
not
fiscal.
the actual fiscal, not the,
Your fiscal year is different than,
than
Ours is, yeah, ours is, October to September, yeah. I know.
Federal fiscal year.
It's
Yeah.
goofy. And all our grants are different too, so that messes
So based
things.
on trending here, what is your feeling on, like, what fiscal year 23 is gonna look like based on trends you're seeing?
Services and monies coming into your county. I feel like it's probably going to, it'll decrease some just because the funding has decreased a little.
Okay.
But I still see the need, I mean, there's still a need and we're still serving folks, so.
Okay.
The gal that we had hired, it was just a little, she took everything to heart, and it was just a little hard for her not to be able to help everybody that came in and.
Teresa?
Yes, and, so that was hard to see her go, cause she really did have the heart and the mindset for it, she didn't help everybody, and we just can't, so
Yeah.
that was stressing her out, and, she was having some health stuff. So
So Katie's
Katie's
back in the
back.
saddle.
Katie's back in the saddle, and, yes, so,
Have you already posted, I'm assuming you posted
Yeah,
the
we
position.
have.
Have you got any applications? yet?
I will ask Katie, I haven't heard her say anything, but, I'll double check it out.
She's looked a little
Frazzled?
frazzled when I went in there and
Yeah.
dropped off some stuff, I'm like, okay.
It's hard to do with one person, and then
Yeah.
Lynn is in there some, but, she was wanting to come today, but, wasn't there, so, she had to stay out this summer. Yeah.
all right. Any other questions? I think you're got it pretty much up to speed.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
just
say,
didn't realize
Heather's-
how this,
Heather's ever,
I forgot we have a different fiscal
yeah.
year, so. just
That's
didn't
pretty
know.
good return on our investment, we're covering about 5%.
Yeah.
What you do with less than that, so.
Yeah.
Just,
So
the
that's-
other question is regarding you guys manage our
General fund.
general fund
Uh-huh.
for the
Yes,
board.
thank you.
How is that going?
I haven't heard anything from Katie,
Because I don't get a lot of emails from her, she sends me occasional
Questions,
but,
yeah.
but I
I
don't
was
know if
gonna
it's
say,
been
I
used a lot, if it's not been
I
used.
don't know that it's been used a lot.
Okay.
We haven't received a lot of bills, I mean,
Yeah,
very minimal.
I don't, yeah.
As far as reimbursement.
And I'm heading out there after I leave here, I'll
Can you
double
let us
check
know
with her.
if we do
Yeah,
put a budget line in for that?
Yeah.
And it's not
Oh,
that we don't wanna
definitely.
fund it.
right,
They, you know, the kind of the way the process works is, first thing, let's send it to Matura, and if Matura doesn't have a resource that fits the bill, then come back here. So,
yeah,
I mean, they're there, we wanna use them, but if you can find other resources,
exactly.
Right.
Yep, that's what we like to do is save that for last.
Yeah.
Last
Heather,
resort.
between you and Dan, if you can kind of let us know on that, so we can put
What
it.
that is, cause then if, like, we budgeted $6,000, I think,
Yeah.
$6,000, and
Okay.
if we're not using that, then we can lower that budget item.
Yeah, use it somewhere else.
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be tight as it, so,
yeah, I'm sure.
Perfect.
so,
All right. I
yeah.
don't know that we have anything
And
else,
just,
so.
okay, just let me know, I will definitely check with her and I'll just shoot you an email with her.
Okay.
Tonight, when I'm there, when I'm there, so. Yeah, call if ever you have any questions or concerns or need any info from us.
Thank
And
you
we
very much.
appreciate your support and help, so keeping the center open and available to your folks, so, yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was
Yeah.
short and sweet.
I know, it
Appreciate
was, yeah.
You didn't come in and tell us there's another blizzard
Yeah.
coming.
If you're
did you?
here for
No.
snow, you can get out, yeah.
Oh, I'm like, nope, I didn't.
Oh, the 1 inch.
I heard a dusting on the
Yeah,
radio.
but that's still gonna make it
but-
bad though.
Yeah,
Even the 1 inch will make it tough to get around.
An inch is like nothing.
right,
Yeah.
not after what we've had.
Except that we have no more space to put it.
Yes, that is the issue. You can't see around corners.
No.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Dan.
Yeah.
I'm actually here because Diane's in my office.
Okay.
So I'm just
Oh.
So snapshot.
here to hang out.
Yeah, feel free. Okay.
Who's up next?
Winterset Library scheduled 11:15, I also told Chamber shoot for 11:15, so we'll take
We'll see
whichever
who
one
comes
shows up
first.
first.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard from either of the other 3 libraries, so I suspect that's all we've got left.
Shirley, do you remember what the rules are on funding the libraries? It was a certain percentage of the
Did it?
bill
Is it there now?
minimum was. Do you
Yes.
remember what that
Don't,
was?
don't forget, tell them what the
No,
free
but
lunch.
Because I know we were over.
Yes.
How's it
It'd
going?
be good to know.
Let me see if I can find it in my email. If not,
Okay, that's not how we're going.
Is that why they don't come and fight for their funds, is you have to give it to them anyway?
Kinda, sorta.
Kind of, sorta, and the last 2 budget years, we were over what the requirement was by the state, so.
Actually, I do have something, but I don't want to say it too loud, no offense.
No, no.
Yeah, well, elderly service was just here.
Okay, sure, sure,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at speed.
Yeah. Someone's coming out today to look at it.
The rainbow's out there now,
Oh.
so. But it's all insured. That's the end of the day, it's all insured.
Oh, good. That's good enough.
Hey, what's up? Okay.
So what other fundings do the libraries get? Just donation stuff, or what?
They each,
Besides what you do?
We did stuff today, a lot of state and federal dollars.
they also get city money.
Even like I-35?
No, these are the public libraries, not the school libraries.
Oh, all the
Public
public,
libraries.
okay.
So under Iowa code, we're required, the county's required to provide funding to certain levies.
Right, right.
For the libraries, and then the cities also pay for that. I know, at least going by Earlham, we covered most of the cost of our city library, and then there was also grants that the library sought to.
And those are state, federal, or both? The grants?
They go for whatever grants are available if it applies. So
Like federal,
sometimes it's
state?
like the American Library Association can offer grants, the state can offer grants, the feds can offer grants. They just try to find, there's also a few, private grants out there that libraries can get. So our library board in Earlham is always looking for funds outside, because obviously everybody's limited on how much you can
Mhm.
pay. So, but our library's pretty tiny. So,
Don't forget to come out, human trafficking awareness training tonight. Spread the word.
Where's that at?
I'm all over it.
At the,
That's my number
Where's that?
2
at the high school,
the high school.
priority.
human trafficking,
That's, that's politically speaking. If
Yeah.
you're not talking about elections and human trafficking, I don't want anything to do with you.
yeah.
Because those are
We
my
only have
top
so many
2.
brain cells to pay attention to.
Well, I don't even go into number 3 and number 4. If we get number 1 and number 2 fixed, everything else should fall in
We've
place.
lowered our list, shortened our list.
Watching TV yesterday was a joy though. I didn't see any political ads.
Yeah.
Mailbox is half full.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to not having all that stuff in my mailbox.
I don't know how I've stayed off the text stuff. My wife's complaining, I get text all the time. It's like, I don't. I don't know if they still have my landline tied in with everything.
I don't get them either, but Stephen gets them addressed to me.
Oh, I
They still think I have a
so many
landline,
texts
knock
all the
yourselves
time.
out.
I get tons of them.
Rex doesn't get any. I
Well,
don't know
the
how he
school-
avoids it.
Mike, how are you? Yes. Did you get my package today?
You understand, Dio, you do that training for the schools too?
Yeah.
Is that right? Like high school, how low do you go? Like middle school,
I just
above,
Just
and
finished
above?
the
Because that's,
junior high and above.
yeah.
I taught the junior high today, this morning.
Mhm.
But it's not the same level of training that the high school and adults will get. So
Right.
I just use one case and then just talk about, Snapchat.
Just kind of make them aware.
Yeah, of what.
Not go into detail.
I mean, the thing is, these kids are on the internet. They can find what,
Oh, I know.
Not like when I was a kid, but just making them aware that they're not as smart as they think they are. So.
Theo, did you put up your Hinterland volunteer list yet? I got my pen ready.
You're on the list.
Okay, I just wanted you to remember that.
You're on the list.
Okay, and I fit in, so no one will be suspicious.
You're the first two to ask. So you're in.
I'll have to give you the
volunteer in
training.
Earlham, because Noel Kahn's gonna be there, and Hozier, and Vampire Weekend.
Sure, I've only heard of Hozier, and I thought it was Hosier.
I thought it was Hosier too, actually. I thought it was Hosier. Is it Hosier?
Hozier.
Is this like a big thing?
The first time I heard of that was when they were talking about it at the
They
meeting.
bake
I
like
was
cake. I
Yes.
was like, oh,
They
all
bake
right.
like cake.
They bake like cake. Got it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're in.
Just, you can't wait section.
I'll give you
that.
the surveillance training as you get closer to
Looks
the
like it's
end of the, get closer
at
to it.
least the monetary.
I can hide the camera, whatever.
Are we at or over?
Shall levy, we're over.
Okay.
Shall levy a tax at least 6.75% per dollar.
One check for you in our office.
I'll get it.
I just wanna make sure
Should I
that
add this
we
back
stay
to
on
the
top
tax?
of that.
I gotta run to the
Because
sheriff's office.
eventually, we're gonna be
See ya.
See you later.
under. Would this go into this would function as minimum under the general levy?
How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
We have referral. These are paid out of rural funds, so they're still
They're still
gonna
gonna
fall within that.
fall within that.
That's, yeah.
All the way over.
Just ignore that camera.
Well, David, how are you?
Yes, sir, doing okay, Phil, how about you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good.
Need to come in and see you. I'm going on vacation next week. I need a book or two. You're up. If you wanna-
Okay, great.
Please have a seat.
All right, well, thank you. Try to bring a little something here to indicate, what kind of return.
You can set one over there too. Diane's at another meeting, but let's see.
Thank you.
Welcome, well, good. Well, I just wanted to leave you a little information here about return on investment. I like to make the case that you guys are getting good bang for your buck there at the Winterset Library, because about 28% of our patrons are rural residents of Madison County, and they account for about 32% of our circulation. And so rural Madison County citizens use the library, and being residents of the county entitles them to all the digital services we have, the audiobooks, ebooks, which is a really outstanding package. It's much better than the vast majority of our sized Iowa libraries. And just so you know, we're an E-sized library, meaning we serve a population of 5,000 to 10,000. But when people ask us about our service area, I include county residents there, because they are getting full services. And so I'm happy to report I am not here to ask for any more money than we ordinarily do. That may be down the road at some point. We are currently at about a few dollars behind the state average for rural library services per capita. That's at $22.47. We're at $17.89, and those range to generate that average. We've got a lot of figures ranging wildly from, I've got a couple counties here paying. Appaloosa County is paying $5.37 per capita, and then I've got on the high end, I've got Franklin County paying, $52.26 per capita. We have good support from our city. We have outstanding support from our friends of the library, and quite a few of those are active members, are rural residents as well. That is, they live outside the city unit, and they're not served by a contracting city. We currently contract with Bennington, East Peru, Maxburg, and Patterson for library services, and so we get,
So they come down to see you, or they use the they use the e-library?
they can do either one.
Okay.
Those are, so state law requires incorporated municipalities to provide library services for their residents, and that can look like a library, or it can look like a contract. And I think there's something like between the contracts with a nearby public library, and so that's what those little towns that I mentioned are doing. Now, so technically that's not going to be covered by what we're asking for today. And so we are very grateful for your support. I'm eager to hear from any of you about what more we can do to serve our rural patrons. And I would just ask that you kindly continue our existing funding. That is the next exit will be FY25.
All right, thank you very much.
How much is that total dollar amount?
That's gonna be, I have 74,369.
Hey, David,
How are you guys?
what was David's ask?
74,369?
It's 74,369, and that's coming in quarterly payments.
And that's that.
Yeah, I sent you guys I have a code in regards to, we have to be at a certain, cents per thousand, in total that we give to the libraries, and we're above that, so, yeah.
So how much is David wanting?
74.
74,369 is what we're asking, and that's been.
That's the
we've been
same amount.
At that number, yes, ma'am, for some years now. And I couldn't, if it weren't for our friends in the library, I would be here, I think, asking for a bit more. As it is, we're able to sort of keep the wolf away from your door for the time being, but we are very grateful. It's perfectly received very well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
David.
You bet.
All right. Amber.
Amber. Yeah.
You can be in the hot seat if you want, Amber.
Feel free. Oh, before I forget.
Oh.
I'm meeting my banquet tickets. I'm just gonna give it to you. Or then I will be there.
That's tonight, no, tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. I keep saying that, it's tomorrow night, no, I'm not.
I wish I could.
No worries. I understand. Well, thank you guys so much for all of your support over the however many years. We definitely missed last year. We would not be as successful without your guys' overwhelming support, especially during the Bridge Festival and all of the initiatives we appreciate. I included our committee kind of up on the successes of 2023. We continue to branch out in tourism and try to get our numbers up to pre-COVID, which we're getting close to. We had 37 buses in town this last year. We welcomed probably over 12,000 people to both of our welcome centers, including St. Charles, which we staffed May through October. And in addition to that, 2024 is going to be an amazing year as well. We were granted a grant from the Highway Tourism Office to update the tourism side of our website. So it's going to allow us to be like an interactive map. We can make it easier to find people or to have people find their way to our website, since signage has been an issue. It'll allow them to plan an itinerary and be very interactive compared to what we have been. And then we also have our Solo Idaho video that we'll be launching this year as well, which will drive tourism to Madison County. It also focuses on Winterset, which will continue to bridge that gap to St. Charles as well. So with the overall inflation, we are asking to increase our support from $8,000 to $10,000. And we appreciate your consideration. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I sent this to Linda last night, you might tell Teddy. reach out to Seacog for bridge repair.
Yep, Teddy's already,
Yeah.
we're working on something with the city as well, for
Yeah.
possibly the upstairs in the building, so
Okay.
she's got her ear to the ground on that.
I thought she did.
Yeah, she's very passionate about that.
Amber, help me remember exactly what our dollars are earmarked for in your budget.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick.
Now, how much money did you make on your little art, plain art?
We broke even this year, but it was a first time event, so, you know, a lot of expenses that we won't have this next year, like t-shirts and signage. So it'll just get better and better as we go along.
That was a kind of a neat idea,
Yeah. Yeah, we're excited to have it back for the second year. We already have a date and we'll be reaching out to artists pretty soon, so.
I think, I'll have to tell you a cute story. Elliot's check was framed on his bulletin board. He doesn't realize. I said, do you realize you have to cash that in the bank? He thought it was like an award.
Oh, I can get him a fake check if he wants
I
one.
think he doesn't know. I said, you have, I think, so it's like 90 days old. I mean, he's 11, because he never got it.
Sooner or later, somebody's gonna reconcile that account and say, how come that kid doesn't
Yeah,
catch it?
that's me right now. To answer your question, though, we do promotional materials for Madison County visitors, which does include brochures. It also includes opportunities to go out. In Madison County, we do that through the Des Moines Farmers Market, as well as other tourism conferences that Teddy attends. Sometimes that does include the tourism fam tour, which Teddy hosted 2 years ago. It includes $2,500 for Iowa travel guides, which is picked up all around the state on the highways. Again, that's a partnership with the Iowa Tourism Office. Partnerships, conference, and networking experiences for $500, and then our tourism and marketing and welcome center staff is $45,000. So it goes a long way for the budget we have.
And you quit going to the fair because the cost on that? Or?
Yeah, and we just couldn't measure ROI. We were getting a lot of out of state people that weren't capturing or coming to Madison County, so that's why we started using it in the farmers market. Yeah.
Anyone have any questions for Amber?
I'd like to add to that point though, even though we don't go to the farmers market or the state fair, we use the same number of brochures, which I know has been said that's what we use the money for in the past. This is just overall tourism is what we use it now for, but we go through the same amount of brochures.
Yeah. I'm sure your brochure budget is,
Yeah.
what is your brochure budget? Just brochures?
Just brochures is, we just did them last year, $9,500, and that's up 2,000 from.
See, that's, for me, that's the easiest thing to do when people ask, well, what do you give money to chamber for? Brochures to market Madison County. You know,
Yes.
that's an easy answer.
Exactly, yeah, it's something tangible.
Who's your printer?
We've been shopping around.
Call me,
Okay, absolutely.
see what we can do there.
Yeah.
So are we, I know we mentioned this at an earlier budget meeting, but the whole fundraiser for Hollowell Bridge, the dinner and Under the Stars or Under the Bridge or whatever, is that still on for May?
Kind of where we're at on that, it's sort of, the short answer is it depends on where we're at with this grant. Because if we get this grant, it's gonna require a certain local match, and we're not gonna have a fundraiser that raises $1 million, but if we need a $50,000 match or $30,000 match, whatever it is, maybe that's an achievable goal, so we're kind of waiting and seeing where we're at.
Okay, when do we know?
I don't recall off the top of my
I think pretty shortly, because November is when it was due, right?
head.
Yeah, I wanna say February and March.
Because we'll have to start planning that soon. if it's
But you
gonna
gotta
be May.
talk to Mike about, didn't he say something about you can't have something on it?
Yeah, we'll have to do it next.
Yeah,
We can't do it legally, DOT.
Honestly, with the grant though, it maybe May further down the line is a good way to do it, but if we get the grant, it's not gonna matter the date, we could do June, July as well.
Because we have more than just one bridge, that's it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so,
This happens to be a good funding opportunity, which they don't exist,
yeah, we
they
would
don't come
really
along
shocked
very
to
often,
see this.
so
from
fingers
my-
crossed that this one works, we can.
You know, if you get that and you need a match, you need to put buckets in every building, because I think people would throw money in, really.
I'll tell Mike, I mean, Mike's the one who did the grant, so
I
the
would
chamber
throw,
can't take any credit for that.
everybody's gonna throw some in, why not?
Yeah, absolutely, we'll definitely, we do have the Cover Bridges Preservation Association jar that we put out, and we'll continue to market that.
Yeah, everybody should, because it helps draw. That's good.
All right.
Any other questions?
No,
All right,
you're doing a good
thank you,
job.
guys.
Thanks.
Good to see you, Shelby and Emily.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't know you, but you must be here with the library.
Yes, I've never been able to make it before.
Come on, have a seat.
So I,
Which library?
Earlham.
Earlham.
Woo! Sorry, I don't really
No,
have anything.
no.
Did you kick?
Don't do that,
I
kid.
didn't see
That kind.
It's just habit, it's great now.
I know.
Yeah, so I didn't exactly know what to bring for sure, so.
Well, tell us some
Tell
of
us
your
what-
programs,
what's
a
going-
little bit about what's going on.
Well, right now, I actually wrote a grant that we got at the beginning of this year for $10,000. We are trying to redo our backyard. Right now, the concrete is just full of trip hazards, and our elderly janitorial staff have to scoop the grass in order to be able to take the trash out, and right now they can't because the snowdrift is as high as my almost 1-year-old in the back right now.
That's a small drift right now.
That
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, well, my 1-year-old's pretty tall. So, he's in the 99th percentile. But, so I'm looking to be able to completely redo that. I don't know how far that money's gonna go. We have about $3,500 earmarked for just making the back door accessible. It is completely not accessible right now. Not only,
why is it not accessible?
well, you almost have to kick it to get it open.
Or you just need a new door?
No,
You want an
it
ADA?
needs new hinges and we need it ADA accessible specifically, yes.
It has to be wide.
Yeah, it might be wide enough, it's just not, it doesn't have any power open abilities, and then it's just hard to open in general by itself. Like, there are kids who always think it's locked and they pound on the door, and I'm like, just pull really hard.
So you need an ADA accessible back door?
Yes.
All right.
And you
So-
said you have a grant with Greater
Yes.
Madison County Foundation or other sources, or?
The Friends of the Library is going to try to help out after the grant money.
Okay.
So the grant money is through, I'm sorry, I forget the acronym all the time. It's transforming something with libraries. It's the small town
Is that the
part
one with
of
the
the American
ALA?
Library Association, yes.
Yes, that's the one offered by them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, that's been a big ongoing project right now. Also, I have now been contracted with the school, and so the school is getting a makeover for their library right now. So they don't have a library, and so we've been, noting things through the different teachers in the classrooms to give the kids books still.
That should be done.
They just got shelves installed. I got an email this morning. So. Yeah. So, largely right now, it's just people coming in has gone down slightly because since COVID, we've been trying to get our numbers back up. Largely through the summer reading program, we're throwing bigger and bigger kickoff parties to get people interested, and that's working, but bigger and bigger things need more funding.
How much are your numbers down from? How much are your numbers down? Like,
I can bring up one of the things that I think I only have, 2019 as the earliest anymore, because we've just stopped trying to compare. But, okay, so we're down to 2020. So, for example,
in January of 2020, we had 1,117 people. And in 2023, we had 823.
2023, 823?
Yes.
Did your hours remain the same?
Yes. December is only from 2020 to 2023. Oh, I have, for December, I have 2019 as a comparison. So in 2019 of December, it was 877, and in 2023, it was 792. So we've gotten much closer. I have a chart that I can actually pass around on my phone.
That's not really,
It's okay, you already
that's not too
answered.
terribly surprising with the additional
It's just-
digital
Yeah, did you-
options that people have.
How many kids come in to use a
We're
computer?
fairly good. It's just our summer reading program, like on our graph you can see, is just, it used to spike up in the center and now it's just kind of a steady slope. So we're really trying to bring more in.
Does Earlham, you don't have real good Wi-Fi or real good like, do you? I mean, how
Oh,
many kids
yeah.
come, you do?
We do.
How many kids come in to use a computer? Do you have a lot of that? People,
Our computers really need replaced. And so we've had less kids coming in lately. That's also part of the problem.
so you need new computers?
Yes,
Have
I
you- have
am
you
going to
talked
be able
this-
to replace 2 this year, but as I was talking with City Hall, and she said with like the state funding and stuff, within the next 4 years, we're expected to not have the same amount that we would have for like our library levy, and so that's gonna be cutting our budget down by $14,000 over the next 4 years.
Okay. So, have you looked to get maybe recycled computers or repurposed computers from either the school or other areas that maybe they're cycling out?
I
and
have
something
not,
more?
we've been buying newer computers, we buy like $300-400 computers and they die very quickly. So, the school has a contract with Mainstay Systems, or not the school, the city has a contract with Mainstay Systems. And we are gonna go through them and get 2 nice, like $1,500 computers for this budget year. We budgeted for that ahead of time, but we won't be able to put that into next year's budget, I don't think, since we're gonna have to start figuring out how to cut down.
Okay.
So we'll have 2 computers for this summer that will be worthwhile. The ones we have right now, it takes about 5 minutes to really turn on, so right now that's just ancient. So I mean, that's probably our biggest need is better computers. I mean, especially because we also work passport agency. And so, there are enough people that when they come in, they've done it online and then because they don't have it ready for whatever reason and don't wanna fill one out in person. And so they'll just go to the computer real quick. Well, they have to do it on their phone right now if they wanna be quick. We can print from phones, but our computers, passport appointments are currently an hour per family, when really they could be like 15 minutes. So that is something that would really just help out with that.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Well, how much are you asking for?
I don't have a specific amount, I'm
So the same number?
sorry. 3,000 will get 2 new computers.
So you're
Can you tell us
asking,
how much we did last year?
I can. It was way more than that.
An extra 3,000.
$26,782.
they asked for that last year?
That's what we did,
That's what we gave.
because
That's
we're
what we
basically
gave.
doing a library levy, so to speak, based on what she's done, right? It's
So.
6.75 cents per
is, that's what the code says. In the past, what we had always done was increase their amount by the amount of valuations that increased. That's what you guys have done for years. And then we finally kind of, then
Yeah,
2 years ago, I think, we were like, they need to start coming in and telling us what they want.
I was on maternity leave.
Automatic ask.
So is your ask really 3,000?
3,000
more.
3,000 more.
3,000 more, so you want
'Cause that would
26,
help.
6, 7, 8,
We have
29.
5 computers, we have 5 public computers, we have 4 of them working up really pretty well then. And I feel like that would both bring kids in more and help the adults too. Like, I had somebody come in trying to apply for unemployment yesterday, and he got frustrated and left.
So you have 29,782 above. All right.
So Shelley, the statutory is 6.75 cents per thousand unincorporated assessed value. What are we doing? Do you know
So that amount is $74,000 total across the board, and we are giving libraries $146,000. So we're well above what the statute is. Because you basically take your statute and you divide it out among the
So
And we're
libraries.
doing how much, 140?
146,
And I'm
well,
not complaining by any means, but I feel like.
So
requested now is
146.
149.
It's 149 divided between all the libraries.
That's what we're doing currently.
Okay.
So we're right out there then. We're over.
We're twice as much as we're required to.
Twice is 2 times.
And we're very grateful. We just, every business has a few things.
I know, I understand completely. Kind of where we're at right now is, this is our 4th day of budget meetings, and we're putting our asks together.
Yeah.
When we get back together next week, we'll think, this is the max we can receive, where are we at? I don't think there'll be an equal sign between them.
I'm sure.
You know how it goes, you do it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
anyway, well, I appreciate you coming in, let us know what's going on.
yeah.
Thanks.
We're just really worried about that cutting 14,000 over the next 4 years. That is
That's
just,
significant.
So where is that cut coming from?
so, I don't know if I'm fully understanding it, but it's the way that, the tax levies were changed. So, it used to be we had a specific library levy, and we don't anymore. And
Oh,
so,
the city level.
yes.
Oh, okay.
So the
So-
city took it away from you?
No,
The
Not the
state
city,
took
the state.
it away, the state took the city levy away. And then they are giving us enough to make up for it right now, so that we aren't scrambling like crazy. But, over the next 4 years, that amount will dwindle down, that they're making up for it. And so that is, my employees are, that budget line is 20,000. And I still need to hire somebody because we have a skeleton crew. So, I mean, that 20,000 includes the person I need to hire. But, so I can't cut that. I really don't know how I'm gonna do that. We're just gonna have to come up with some extra way to get funding. So,
That's a tough way.
yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
all right, thank you very much.
So, I don't know if anybody else has mentioned that, but that might be something.
I appreciate you coming in, because I invited all 4 libraries, and Winterset was here, and you're here, I'm not sure, that I never heard from either of the other 2.
I don't always remember to respond to
No, I
emails.
appreciate you.
So I just showed up.
Thank you for coming, I appreciate it.
But, yeah, it's just,
Thank you. I know Truro's working with the college too, but they need a lot of work
We
done.
should wait till.
We should wait till
11:45,
11:45
Just
before
because
we
that's
do
what
it.
time we
Juror
have.
is technically scheduled.
You drive over here and we'll be gone.
Yes, I would do it,
So,
I'm gonna assume
thanks
that
for 7
Charles
minutes.
is gonna show. We'll give Churro a few minutes to make it in.
As bad as their road, that Peru highway
Is it?
is. Yes, it's like just pure
What's
ice.
the Earlham Road?
Haven't taken it, have you?
Yes, a little icy. Not too bad if you're if you're used to driving on that kind of stuff, you know when to, like, I take my foot off the accelerator when I'm going over a bridge,
Yeah.
you know, but for those that aren't experienced, they probably.
Only tank.
92 is amazing.
Is it 169 wasn't?
Pitzer Road is really good too.
Yeah, once you hit 90.
Beautiful.
It's great.
St. Charles Highway,
I brought
Rick
169.
could drive is 95 miles an hour.
Road.
It's
So
so hard.
I brought 169 down.
Oh, I have.
Oh, you
this
did? How'd you do it?
Interstate to be this.
Oh,
down.
okay.
Yeah, I just,
Was that okay on 169?
yeah, it's spotty. I mean, the
Yeah.
hills and curves are a little bit, but
Earlham's
I just-
always nasty in winter.
I wasn't sure
St.
what the
Charles
Earlham road
was
was like,
quiet.
and I'm like,
St.
this
Charles
is
was
Well, the roads in town are rough for
Oh.
coming over this morning and
Oh.
I got a sippy
Almost
cup here.
makes you-
I set my cup holder and I'm like, oh, I got to drive with my hand up. Oh, it's just hot. Otherwise it's splattering everywhere.
Indianola last night at their meeting got rid of the 2 people that sit on the landfill board, put 2 new ones on.
Is that good?
Well, pretty
Well-
last minute thing, and then they call in and they're clueless what they're
Well,
coming
at
into.
least they're showing up.
They did call in.
That's the
That was
stuff.
like a short meeting of it.
Well, it's DNR and well testing and water testing, and our budget is always the same. Everything is what it is. Until they're having a hard time moving in, because it's too high, too young. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's not. Our water testing is all good, so that's nice.
I'm gonna guess not.
They were supposed to be here at 11:45.
Yeah.
So that's why the one, we are waiting on the new.
Not waiting until noon. I have a meeting at noon. We'll give them.
No, it's, that's.
It's at 11:45.
You'll be done. Maybe give them 5 minutes, be late, and then.
I didn't miss anything from her. Yeah, my meeting was fast, but the email was coming. She sends everything out. They want to dry needle, she's trying to have the courage to let us stick needles. Why? Because this side, I don't know, it's nothing private.
I mean, you tend to overshare anyway, so.
Well, I wish it wasn't on this.
Yeah, she is. 100%.
She texted.
That's great.
Yeah.
I suppose it'd be easy to take sound bites when people overshare and put it all over the TV.
That's what they do. Somebody was sharing a video of one of the, I'm assuming the caucus, they said it was the caucus, I don't know who it was. It wasn't our county, but they basically were passing a Hy-Vee garbage bag and gathering up all the ballots like that, and they were being made fun of all over Twitter. This is the caucus election, it's just a paper bag and slips of paper. I said, no, the ballots are printed.
And they're ballot boxes. We
Well,
have
we have
ballot
ballot boxes, so we made them, but this other county apparently was in paper bags, I don't know. I don't even, it's true, but that's what they're making fun of us.
Well, you do have people making parodies of this too, so you don't know if it's true.
I know one of the international people that was at the Jefferson Lee one thought, this is how you do it, you know, and like, no, it's a caucus, it's not a primary, it's not, you know, it's a different thing, and it's kind of a foreign animal to most
people, yeah, I've had to explain to friends of mine, I was like, what is a caucus?
And the Democratic caucus is even
It's different.
because everybody stands in their corner and tries to pull people your way, as I understand it.
Yeah, but, because we had a bunch of Democrats that re-registered to vote Republican, and they're like, this is different than what we do. I said, yeah, ours is run a little bit more like an election rather than a
This year, you had Democrat